Hello, hello, greetings and salutations, and welcome in to part two. I realize that the title thing said part one, but it's part two. You know, just ignore that.
We'll lure in those people who think it's the first one. I'm like, oh yes, this is for me. I'm in the basement.
That's right. That's all we do. Hi, everyone. Welcome to part two of Cthulhu Confidential Fatal Frequencies, a gumshoe one-to-one system by Pelgrane Press.
You've got a book. Show off the book.
And this is the book. It's by Pelgrane Press. It's made for, as they say on the back, one player, one game master, double the thrills.
Very good, very good.
And it's made specifically for one GM and one player, and it's a very sort of investigative system. Really interesting, with 3 investigators all set up there with 3 adventures. It's pretty exciting, and we are playing through. We did earlier over on Geek Space TV. We did the first adventure with Old Man Dex Raymond, starring Drunkly Romantic, who died, not Drunkly Romantic. He's alive.
He's alive.
Just
not in this show.
No, just the character died. And now we're doing the second investigator, Vivian Sinclair, with one of the most amazing players. I'm so excited to have Jackie Dash. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody where we can find you, what you do. Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I will do so. So my name is Claudia. I go by Jackie Dash on the Twitch and Twitter, JAKIDASH. And I am a part-time streamer. It's been really fun, and I've done RPGs for about hardcore RPGs for about 5 years. And I use the word hardcore because that's right when I jump into having 3 D&D groups at the same time, which I think is what you do in your first year. Yeah. And then you realize, hey, maybe it's quality, not quantity.
That is fair. Also, it's super hardcore though, so I respect it.
No. It wasn't me trying to be like game of respect. It was just like that's how I started. I different groups.
Who was your first character?
It's actually funny. My first character was a pre-rolled D&D character that was a halfling rogue who the first episode she gave her soul to Satan. So I had to roll a new character, so I picked her sister, who was also a halfling rogue. So,
whose name was suspiciously similar?
Same last name, but the Sarai was the first name. So it went from Lorelei, which is a stick song, to Sarai, which just sounds cool.
I take it.
Mm-hmm.
So today we are doing part 2, the conclusion, one hopes, of Fatal Frequencies. And in this adventure so far, last time, actually, I suppose I should just ask Jackie Dash to tell us. Oh, wait, I'm Trooper SJP. I'm the GM, and this is my channel. Ta-da!
Very talented GM. You should put very talented GM just on the front.
No, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Why don't you tell us what happened last week on Cthulhu Confidential?
Yes. So Vivian Sinclair is a New York, not private eye, but an investigator for the New York Times. Tired of doing beauty pageants and country fairs and sales on Macy's, she decides to go and follow a lead because somebody called her about a framed murder. Sadie Kane came in, and she's this young doll who has dreams and a fiance named
George Preston.
George Preston. George Preston, who was secretly inventing on his off time because he was an electrical engineer. So after investigating the apartment complex, lots of weird stories happen. Floating jellyfish with teeth.
And tentacles.
And tentacles seem to kill his next door neighbor after lots of different thoughts. So the police department just want to frame George Preston because it's done and it's over with and no one has to look at these weird thoughts of tentacle monsters. So
It's always
this is
bad.
not enough for Sinclair, who is going to, after looking at the body, finding weird pustules and suction cup veins, was like, no, we're going to write a supernatural story because that will sell papers. So she's got a couple more leads to follow, including the Temple of Nephthys, a electrical repair company called Fuller Electrical Repair, and also, just gonna get the scoop. Oh, I have one more. And a weird schematic for an invention, which may result in being able to see the dead.
That's the theory. So,
I mean, something happened.
something happened. Something happened. We don't know all what happened. Krellin points out that one should never trust a tentacle, and Paladin Hulk says, tentacles are normal, but teeth are not. And as somebody asked, and my beard is blue, in case people want to know, it is all blue now.
That is lovely.
Yes, it is. Last night I worked on it. It takes a while to bleach, and like I should just get a beard wig.
Those are sticky though.
Oh yeah.
I've heard those are sticky.
That's
and yours
fair.
is so magnificent that you can wear it all the time.
This is true. So, after all of this investigating, running around town in New York, our Vivian Sinclair went back home, and she worked on her paper after having spoken to her roommate a little bit, Catherine. But it is now early in the morning on a Tuesday morning. Bright, early. Everything seems to be fine. I mean, it's a beautiful day in May, perhaps, for some. For others, it's not so great. You can think about perhaps Sadie Kane, who lost her job because the police were aggressively questioning her at work. And you can think about George Preston, wherever he is, framed for murder, assuming he didn't do it.
I mean, he might have done it. He might have invented a suction cup poison dart machine.
Yeah, I mean, it is unclear. And you might think about Pearl LeBlanc, the young woman who's so desperate to find this miracle machine, who works for Madame Isis. You might think about Lieutenant O'Connor, with whom you have a dinner, one hopes, on Thursday night, if all goes well and you don't die. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Like, the Vivian Sinclair can't die.
No. Until the end of the adventure.
No, just never.
Just
live forever.
And so, this beautiful morning, what do you do?
Well, she's got 3 proposals.
She has a meeting at 1:00 with Madame Isis.
She did leave a note with her editor, because I think we've established she's on the 3rd floor.
Yes.
She wants to get that 4th floor.
You didn't leave a note with the editor. You left a message with the secretary, and you insulted the secretary.
Yeah, so I think Vivian is like, I should talk to my editor about the stories that I told him I was doing. So she has 3, she wants to do a multi-part story. 1, the base facts, then the occult, and then the conclusion. So she kind of has not drafted it, but has been like, this is my spiel. And she wants to really check in early morning with her editor to make sure that happens. So because you gotta get a bid, you gotta get a spot.
Mm-hmm.
So she's written those proposals up. She's got some information listed. She's got some good catchy words like suspenseful and cult. And I think she leaves pretty early. I would say maybe like 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Vivian sleeps that much anymore.
Oh, hey, did you sleep well?
No, she did not.
I'm just asking because I know you saw this body that was ripped in half.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. When you see a bunch of entrails just in a plastic bag, you don't really sleep well the next day. So I think she found reasons to work. I think she did some extra stuff she didn't need to. I don't think she often writes good proposals. I think she just goes in there and demands them. So that's usual. So I think on her way into work, she grabs a some bear claws. I think she wants to try to maybe bribe her way to the she goes in and she wants to go to her editor.
Her editor, Edgar. Edgar Pulaski.
Edgar Pulaski. Did not spell that right.
Pulaski.
Okay.
Pulaski. Edward Pulaski. Edgar Pulaski. And Edgar's in there, and he's got a bit of a pot belly, and he doesn't dress well, you know? I mean, he's an editor, so he's making enough money, but he still dresses as if the way he did when he was an earlier reporter. He hasn't really updated his wardrobe. And, you know, he's there in his office and he's answering, you know, he's talking, like the secretary, by the way, sees you. She's like, Mr. Pulaski's busy right now?
Oh no, I have his new scoop. I also got you a bear claw.
She looks at the bear claw.
It's good. Like, it's not poisoned. It's and she just like sets it out on a napkin, you know, like you do when you pass out donuts. You're here so early. Doll, why are you here so early? To answer this boy's phone?
She's suspicious, but she takes the bear claw because she is here early and she has no bear claw, and that is what she wants. So she's like, Mr. Pulaski can see you, and she just takes that bear claw.
Thank you. Love how you did your hair, by the way.
Oh, and her hair is like it's 37, so she's got it like in a nice sort of like a nice little curl under curl. It looks nice.
It takes time, especially in the morning. Like, it's appreciated.
And you know, she looks a little tired, but the early bird gets the worm, and when her boss is here, she has to be here. And she's probably like 23, 24, right? She's not married yet, but she's worked her way up to being the secretary to the editor, so she's a hustler. Like, she really works hard to get here. And she, you know, gestures you on in, and there you see Edgar, who's like, you know, little paunchy, and he's actually on the phone already, and he sees you and he just kind of waves you in and points to a chair.
I think Vivian sits in it, and I think she's patient. Surprisingly, I think she opens her notebook. She probably looks over some things. She's waiting, biding her time.
And then he puts the phone down and he goes, Sinclair.
Edgar, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
About my new scoop, right?
No. However, I have a story for you that you might be interested in.
I'm all ears. I mean, after this one, because this one is worth your time.
Well, it turns out that there's going to be a sort of party for the mayor's daughter. 16 years old, she's having some sort of party. I thought that you might be perfect to see her shindig. It'll be in next week.
Oh, I can fit that in next week. However, as long as this one doesn't take more time. I have a scoop about a murder.
A murder?
That has not been reported on, with an occult tie-in, a strange inventor who is now missing.
So what you're saying is we've got a murder. What kind of murder? Who got murdered?
Next door neighbor, his lower half is missing.
What neighborhood?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Nobody important's murdered in Brooklyn. Why do I care about a murder? That sounds like page 7.
This murder has weird, strange occurrences, has a very interesting apartment building where jellyfish, currently, the occult Madam Isis
Madam
of the
Isis.
Temple is interested in it. There is a missing invention that I have the schematics in, and I saw the body and I have pictures. This is going to push sales in a demographic that you don't have a lot of sales in.
What? Tell me about the murder. Was it a shooting, a stabbing?
Oh, the body was ripped in half.
Ripped in half, you say?
Yes. And there is some thought that the police department is reading a second report to just originally they thought 2 people had to rip it apart. But then afterwards, when they got their guy, they just changed the report to 1 guy had to rip it apart because they just want to get this out of the books. This is too tough for the toughest cops in the world.
So you're thinking about a little bit of corruption?
I wouldn't go that angle, but if I find it, I will.
Ripped in half, and you got pictures.
Got pictures.
What is this occult business? You think maybe some sort of cult murdered him?
I think some cult riled him up so that he did. I think this cult angle is I think this cult has hooks in this apartment complex, which is making old men see things that they should not see, and weird sounds and lights going off, and then maybe cannibalism.
Body ripped in half, crazy cult.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds interesting.
I'm pushing for 3-part newspaper. 1 telling the crime, 2nd telling the talking about the cult, and then the 3rd one giving the conclusion of what's happened.
Well, I'm interested. If
As you should be.
If it's everything you say it is, I might give you a couple of columns and maybe even the first page. Maybe.
I got some good pictures for the first page.
Too gruesome for children?
I could put that in page 3.
All right.
There's a couple characters in that apartment complex that deserve that front page.
Write up the story. If it's everything you say it is, you might get a front page story. I do like bodies ripped in half.
No, that's a good one. Can you think of a front page, a name for that? Half the body is still a murder.
All right, work on it, Sinclair. When can I get it?
I'm doing some more research on that. So I'm thinking newspaper sales are the biggest on Monday or Sunday?
Well, it depends. Sunday's a good one.
I can get you to, I got to follow some leads. I'll let you know today. I'm thinking either I'll get it to you on Friday morning or Saturday morning. So we can push it to Monday if you need to.
All right, Sinclair. I do like a good murder in the morning.
Oh, murder in the morning. I think follow up, I could do that mayor daughter one, but some more murders after that, if this goes well.
We'll see. But, mayor's daughter having a party. Upper East Side.
Upper East Side. All right.
So.
Oh, and he has a bear claw.
Oh! And he takes the bear claw and he just bites into it and bear claw crumbles on his shirt. And he's like, you're a good one, Sinclair. You're a good one.
Best.
Hey, if this story's everything you say it is, and you keep it up, you know what that could mean.
4th floor.
4th floor, maybe. And when you walk out of there, the secretary's she's got her bear claw and she has she tears off little pieces, right? And eats just little pieces at a time, and it's all very neat. And she nods to you and she's like, I hope it goes well, whatever you're working on.
Thank you. Me too. It will. I think Vivian sometimes struggles with like other women in the workplace.
That's probably true.
Like, I think she's so fine with like other women outside because she's like, oh, this isn't a challenge. But now I'm like,
Yeah, I feel like she's a good ally to her sisters, or perhaps less so. So tell me, where do you go from here?
so I think she's still got some time before she goes to the Temple of Nephthys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's gonna check out Fuller Electric, which should be open at this time.
This is true.
And I think she's gonna just try to find. Give me a second. I know the name. Charlie Fitzpatrick. I think she wants to get the scoop. I think it's great to have a personal account of who George Preston is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Fuller Electrical Repair, as you know, is a couple blocks north of in Brooklyn. It is on the main street, which is Fulton, which is like the main commercial district in Brooklyn. It's just several blocks north. It's not too far away from George's home, his apartment.
right, so you can walk to work.
He can walk to work. And as you head on down there, you sort of take the subway and you head on down there. And as you sort of move towards this space, you're approaching it. And there are a couple of things you notice right away. The first thing you notice is that this building was clearly used to be a warehouse, right? It's that 2-story sort of warehouse type of building that says, Fuller Electrical Repair, nice letters up front. The other thing you notice that sort of strikes you is that there are a bunch of men hanging out in front of the shop. They're not in line to go into the shop. They're sort of loitering. And there's like maybe 8 or 9 or, like between like 8 to 10 around that sort of number. Some of them have toolkits with them.
I get what's happening.
Yeah, some of them don't, but they're all kind of waiting around. Sometimes
they're trying to get a job.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, because it's the Depression. People are out of work, and if it has come out in the neighborhood that one of their electrical repair people is not around,
he's missing, they're gonna fill the spot.
And so there's but they're all sort of waiting around, loitering, hopeful, grumbling, sort of chatting amongst themselves a little bit as you're approaching.
I think Vivian politely tries to walk through. She just needs to get to the front door. I think she's not trying to make eye contact as she wants to focus.
Mm-hmm. Do you care about their talk?
I think she listens because she's always listening, and the headphones weren't invented yet. So I think like if Vivian and now, she would always be on headphones. Like she would Bluetooth for sure. But I think she, she's curious. She's a reporter. She's always going to be listening.
And you maneuver your way through them, and your guess was correct, right? There's sort of discussion about maybe they can get the job, right? You get the sense that they want this job. They hope that there's a job. You also get the sense that there's a little bit of frustration among them, because it seems as if Fuller has really high standards, right? They're like, you hear things like, well, my friend Jonesy worked for him yesterday, but he hasn't come back, so clearly he didn't get the job either, right? So you get this sort of sense from the kind of discussions that they're all sort of hoping, and that it seems like maybe Fuller will hire somebody out for one day to test them and then just not find them good enough, right? So
okay, this kind of makes sense why they got an inventor in their pocket. But they did.
Yeah. And so it's like you get the sense maybe also that there were more people here a couple days ago, and that like each day Fuller like tests them out, doesn't find them good enough, and like it's always like one less person, and then maybe some people decide not to come back the day after. And so the ones who are here are still hopeful that they'll be good enough to meet these standards, and that maybe it'll be them this time.
All right. Like, this gives me a good sense of what Fuller is.
Yeah. So when you walk in, you open this door, and what you see is, I want you to imagine a warehouse, like a big open space. And right in front of you, there is a desk with a secretary behind it. And she dresses like she's old, but she's early 20s, right? But she's got her hair in a bun, and she's got little glasses, and she's got like a pencil in her hair, and she's wearing kind of like a dress, but not the most stylish, fashionable one. That kind of like it's covered up high, and it's a floral print, sort of conservative. I mean, she dresses like your mom, even though she's early 20s. And there's like a small wall behind her, like a little like maybe waist high sort of little wall, so you can see over, but it separates this little front area from what is the warehouse itself. And in this warehouse, there are maybe 16 benches, like not benches, but more like tables, like 16 work tables. Worked out like 4x4. And on each work table, there's a man in a smock, like in coveralls and a cap, sort of just working. And they're working on, washing machines, sometimes large appliances like a washing machine or a refrigerator, but more often than not, smaller machines like a radio or a phonograph or a sewing machine. And each person is working, and they're all working very hard. And they each have like their own little station. You also can see an office, like a mezzanine office on the there's no second floor really, but there's like an iron staircase and a walkway that will take you to an office which is above like a storage room, probably in the back of this warehouse. It looks like there's probably a storage room because there's a door that is, and above that there is this office. And the office has these huge sort of like windows that allow the person up there to oversee the floor itself. And in there you can see a man in that office. And you've got all the people working down here, and then you've got this secretary. And when she sees you, she looks up and she goes, "Oh, may I help you?"
Yes. I'm actually looking. I wanted to talk to someone regarding a possible connection to an appointment I made previously. His name is Charlie Fitzpatrick, and I'm hoping that he could do a consultation for me at my apartment.
There's something that you don't know, and you can tell, right? Because she has this little smile when you say that, like, and you don't know what the smile's about, but
no, I'm already though not pleased.
And she goes, yes, you can find Charlie right workbench number 4. That's in the far corner, right over there.
Thank you. And I think as Vivian leaves, I think as Vivian leaves, oh, by the way, I love how you dress. It looks so comfortable. Like, I love that you have the confidence to pull it off. And I think the Vivian walks away after that. I think it's just like Vivian's like, I don't like it.
And so she gives you this sour look, but she also just kind of turns to watch as you're heading off towards bench 4 with this little bit of a smirk.
Oh no, this is like, I know this is gonna be bad. So I think she goes over to workbench 4.
And as you walk over there, you see the person from behind, sort of broad shoulders, in a sort of like overalls, right? And and a cap, sort of like a little jaunty cap, sort of short brown hair, and as you approach Charlie, go ahead.
Oh, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
And Charlie turns around, and when Charlie turns around, you see, of course, a face that has got like grease on it from sort of working hard, and Charlie's working over a radio right now.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you notice about Charlie right away is that Charlie is not a man at all. Charlie is a woman, sort of like a handsome woman with sort of short hair and a sort of a mannish cut, brown hair, sort of blue eyes. I have a question.
Yes.
Is Vivian attracted to women?
Oh, this is a tricky question. I think she is. I think she can recognize beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's ever like. I think if time period wise, I think if she ever had an emotional feeling for female, she'd be like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Tell herself no.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she can tell this person is striking.
Mm-hmm.
And has to like pause, but then we'll like regain composure.
Mm-hmm. That is fair. And Charlie, when you said Mr. Fitzpatrick, Charlie like, turns around with this sort of like smile, like, yeah. And it's like it might be a little bit embarrassing, but Charlie just like tips her hat and she goes, "Madam."
Oh, like I think she probably like, oh, I love this. And like just walks to the other side of the table, and I think she's like leans in close. I don't think Vivian is enough that she'd put her arm on the edge of the table, but I think she's pretty close to that. Vivian Sinclair, I'm with the New York Times. I need to just, do you mind after this if I could take you out to coffee to just talk to you about some questions regarding a possible framed murder of a friend of yours?
This is about George.
This is about George.
Yeah, I can get coffee, lunch.
Can we do an early lunch? 11 maybe? 11:30?
And she looks up towards that big window. And then she looks at this radio that she's working on. She's like, I think I could make it 11. That's in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Finish up, take your time. I'll take you anywhere you want. I just have a couple questions, and I think it would be better for us without prying ears.
And she looks around, and of course, people in the shop, most people are continuing to do their work, and you get a sense that they work really hard here.
No, I definitely get that. Like from the news that they're like, this is if you mess up one day, you're done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's the Depression. You can lose your job real easy, and this is a good job.
No, it really is.
Yeah. She says, well, I could make it. I can make a short coffee. I mean, if it's for George, yeah.
Yeah. And if you need me to talk to your boss, I can do that too. I'm just going to say this. I'm great at flattery.
I bet you are. I'll meet you at 11. There's a diner 2 blocks east of here.
Okay. Should I order anything for you to get you started?
A coffee. Black, 2 sugars.
Got it. See you soon.
And like, she's got this sort of a little bit of a smile glow as you head out. And then she like takes that moment, gets right back to this radio because she's got to get it finished.
I think handsome is indeed a word for that. I think Vivian regrets not taking a photo. Like, I think she will eventually, but like, I think.
Mm-hmm. You go to this diner. It's the same diner you were at with Pearl LeBlanc, Clementine.
Yeah. Same booth.
Same place. And it's not too long before Charlie makes her way into this diner to meet you. And she's like cleaned herself up a little bit, and she's got her, she's like, so, Miss Sinclair, and she sits down across from you.
Miss St. Patrick? Fitzpatrick?
Miss Fitzpatrick, yes.
Thank you for meeting with me today. I'm with as I said before, New York Times. I just have a couple questions about George. It just seems there are more questions than answers with this case.
Yes, he's You've not found him yet?
No, I'm starting from the base. So right now I'm kind of investigating what's going on. And it just seems that horrible murder. Do you happen to know what he did in his off time?
Yes. So George, like, the first thing I need to say, Miss Sinclair, is that George would never kill anyone. He's very sensitive. He's always been very empathetic. The sort of fellow who would, I don't know, like he would cry about stories of dogs dying. You know what I mean? Like he's not a he's a dreamer, and he's sensitive, and he's not a violent person. He would never kill anyone. A murder would upset him terribly. So the police are all off on this one.
It's going to take a lot to convince the police that they're off on this one. I've followed up with the police. They're pretty stuck. We're going to have to come up with something. Do you have anything? Do you have a alibi perhaps? I know he was in his apartment, but were you with him maybe? Did you know? Or...
No, I didn't. I can just say that he's not that kind of guy that would do something like that. I mean, I might be. I mean, at this point in time, where he's at right now in his life, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he stole something, but he wouldn't kill anyone.
Right. So let's just. I found. Do you know what he was working on in his off time?
Yeah. So Mr. Fuller, he will sometimes let people work after hours on special projects. So a number of people have keys to the shop. I mean, I have one. George has one. Richard has one. A couple of people have them, and he doesn't mind if we spend use the tools and spend our after hours just working in the shop on our own little things. And I know that George has been working on something for a while now, staying late. I would often stop by the shop, sometimes at 11 or midnight, just to check in on him, and he'd still be there working, and I have to tell him to go home. And I just like to, check in to make sure that he was, not staying up too late and that he was okay. And George got me the job, actually, with Mr. Fuller. I mean, most places wouldn't hire a woman to do electrical repair.
Know that life.
Yeah. But George, we did a trick a couple of years ago where he let me do all of his repairs for the whole week, and they didn't tell anyone about it. And then after the whole week was done, and when I got everything done and everything well, then he told Mr. Fuller that I'd done the repairs, and then Mr. Fuller hired me. And George's a really good man. We've known each other since we were kids, and he just really wanted to, invent something amazing. He just had these big dreams, and I don't know, sometimes his dreams were, I don't know, maybe sometimes he was his head was in the clouds too much, but he was really good, and he was so excited. I remember the day of the murder, when I saw him at work, he was so excited. He had that look in his face the first time. I remember we were maybe 8, and he had built a radio, and he'd been working on it for so long, and he couldn't get the crystal set to work. He couldn't get it to work, and then finally he ran to me one day, and he had this look on his face that was so amazing, this look of joy and discovery. And he told me that he first heard voices on the radio, and that Wednesday I saw him have that look on his face again. And I figured that something with his machine must have gone really well. I think it must have been. That was Wednesday morning at work. So I imagine he must have gotten really good progress Tuesday night, probably. So I figured everything was going so well for him, which was good because he'd been spending so much money on that machine, so much money that he didn't have. And
Yeah, that's unusual right now. Do you know if he got the funds from another buyer?
I I'm I don't know exactly where he got the money, but I imagine he got a loan. I
Have any of those sharks been coming around the office?
no, not around the. I thought I saw a guy um, lurking around the office in the last couple of days who could have been a loan shark, but I don't know. And I just, guys like George, people like me, we don't get money unless we ask the wrong people. So I'm a little worried that maybe George borrowed unwisely, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Do you have any idea where he could be?
I saw him on Thursday.
Did he go to work?
Yeah, he was here at work on Thursday. Um, and when I saw him, I knew there was something wrong. He was really glum. Uh, he was really glum. He looked really depressed. And so I just figured that maybe whatever that progress he had with the machine the day before, maybe it just didn't work and he was on the wrong track and it wasn't working out after all. That's what I figured, that the machine didn't work. But he was so depressed, and he asked me to stay late with him at the shop that night, and I couldn't because I had a date that night, so I couldn't stay. And so I left.
What time did you leave around?
I left around 6. Mr. Fuller was still here. I imagine that Mr. Fuller would have been the last person to see him when Mr. Fuller locked up.
Okay.
And I normally come in after a date, but then
This is a good date.
yeah, I didn't come in that night, so I didn't see him. And I probably should have.
You've given me a great start. I appreciate this character witness. I appreciate you letting him know that I have a confirmed now that he was here Thursday, which is really good.
Hey, I'm afraid that maybe he jumped off a bridge or something. Like, this machine was everything to him, and if he's just the way he looked, he had this look on his face. Just the way he looked, I don't know. And I should have stayed, but I had a date I needed to get to, and
if that's the case, you couldn't have done anything about that. When people's hearts are broken, they just go.
Hey, I think I should tell you that you're not the only person who came around asking about George.
Who else?
Some girl.
Tiny thing?
Yeah.
Talk too big?
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Awkward?
Yeah.
She stopped by Saturday looking for him. And we said we hadn't seen him. And I'd seen him talking to her before. He wasn't messing around on Sadie, though. He wouldn't do that.
No, not with a child like that.
No. But when we said we hadn't seen him, then she wanted his machine, but his machine's not in the office. It's not the shop at all. And so then she accused us all of stealing it, and she started yelling. Mr. Fuller, gave her a bit of a brandy, calmed her down. But she seemed a little, unhinged.
Well, that's good to know that her story checks out. Yeah, I know that is. And oof.
Who is she?
Um, I think he got the money. I think it's not through a loan shark. I think it's through a cult. So I'm gonna follow up on that.
Oh,
Keep it to your chest.
a,
I
a,
don't want to alert anybody.
a cult?
Yeah, there's some weird things happening in New York. Do you mind if when we get back I take a picture of you next to your desk? Even
Oh,
if this doesn't work out, you'd be a great story.
okay, sure.
Yeah, you do
Uh,
good work.
uh, may I call you Vivian?
Of course.
Uh, Look, I know George didn't commit this murder, and if you can find him, that'd be great. He's my best friend, and I don't know exactly what he's working on, but I know it was important to him.
Can I roll not even roll. Can I just see is there a way I can kind of I want to assess honesty and see if this person can like is on the up and up. So I'd actually like their help with this.
Yeah, assessing honesty. So that's a good call. Hey, chat. For those of you who are new in this game, players have a number of different skills. They have information gathering skills, and they have general skills. General skills like fighting and running, jumping, and then investigative skills like assess honesty and bureaucracy and chemistry. And you're always successful at an investigative skill if there's information to get, and you just have to say, I'm interested in this. So when you're assessing honesty, there are a couple of things you notice. There is something... the things she says about George seem complete, that she believes them. She believes that he would not hurt anyone. She does seem concerned about where he got the money. She is concerned that maybe he killed himself. Like, all those things are true. There is something off about the way that she's talking about the last time, that Thursday, the last time anyone saw George. It's not like there's something off about it. When she says that Mr. Fuller was probably the last to see him, that he would have locked up, that she left, that seems true. There's something about the date that seems perhaps...
Like she's not telling me something.
She's not telling you something. There's a little bit of nervousness around there. She clearly is feeling guilty about not seeing George again in the evening, but there's something about that part of the story also that, like, there's something about that evening that seems a little bit off to you. She seems nervous about it. She's clearly holding something back, or something is not 100% on.
Just a second. I want to see I have a problem.
You do have a problem.
I do have a problem, which is I want to reassure inspiration. And I do want to push to figure out if this is actually the truth, because something seemed wrong. And I want to give her the schematics, but I'm not going to do that if I can't trust her. So I think I'm going to try to do a bargain. I think I'm going to try to do a bargain with a push. And the reason why I'm doing bargain is this. I think Vivian's going to get close and she's going to bring her coffee cup. And so she's going to kind of like talk into her coffee cup. I have some information on what George was working on. But Charlie, I've been doing this for a long time. Not as long as you think, but a long time. And I think something's not feeling right with this. I'm not feeling this between us. So I want to ask you for help on this. But I also don't believe you enough to do that. So I'm going to ask you one more time. And if you're honest with me, I'll bring you in a little bit closer. And maybe we can work together on figuring out what George was working on.
You're going to need a reassurance push for this.
Yeah, I thought so.
You
okay.
But you are jaded.
Yeah. So because I am jaded, it means that I have to give double the pushes, which which is rough because a push, I only get 4. I've already used 1. But I also have the world must know. So I'm going to discard that and one of my tokens.
Okay.
I'm going to put those together.
Okay.
And I'll clear the board.
Okay. Then you can get rid of Jaded and also the world must know and one of your push tokens.
Okay, I'm just gonna delete those myself.
Delete them.
Okay.
Oh,
that's rough.
Oh,
like that's
rough.
This is a big push, but I think it's gonna clear up a lot. I think Charlie's a more interesting character.
There's a beat, and there's a little bit of nervousness. And she says, you have information about George's machine?
I do. I can't give you everything I got unless you give me everything you got. Come on, Charlie. We're working gals together. We got to push hard.
Okay. Vivian, I could get in trouble. Serious trouble.
George could be in serious trouble.
I wasn't out on a date Thursday night. I sometimes, after work, when Mr. Fuller he doesn't know, I sometimes take some of the tools out and I do jobs on the side. I sometimes go to people's homes and I do electrical repair. Now, I'm going to say out of character, you would know because you have bureaucracy that the people who work at electrical repair shops do not have the licensing to do home electrical repair.
No, that is definitely like, oh, I might have done real bad then by asking for a home visit.
Well, the thing is, she probably can do it, right? I mean, she's probably talented. It's just that she doesn't have the certification. So it's a lot better money, right? But without the certification, if she got caught, she'd be in trouble, right? She might lose her job.
Okay.
Right. So doing home wiring, she can probably do it. She's probably talented enough, but she doesn't have the licensing, right? So she's admitting to you that she's doing work that she is not licensed for on the side.
Yeah.
And she says, so I do check in on George at night, but usually also to turn in the tools, right? I do the job and I've got to bring the tools back in the evening, usually after Mr. Fuller leaves, so that he doesn't know what I'm doing. And I am checking in on George, right? But I'm also turning in these tools, and I mean, George would never say anything about what I'm doing, and I did go back that
Thursday night.
Yeah. I did. But I didn't see him. When I got there maybe 10 or 11, maybe? Something like that. And he was not there. Which is weird because he normally is. But the shop wasn't empty. Mr. Fuller was there. You won't mention me in the newspaper, will you?
I mean, I wanted to put you on the front because you'd look gorgeous on the front page. I'm willing to work something out with you.
I just don't think being on the papers... Look, when I got there, Mr. Fuller was there, and he saw me return my equipment, and that was not great. And if he finds out that I'm talking to you, I could lose my job. I mean, he's a good guy. He hired me, and he hasn't lowered our wages too much. What with all the people out of work, and he hasn't fired us to. I mean, he could just replace all of us with cheaper people, and he could just drop our wages completely, and he's only dropped them a little bit. So, I mean, it's just when I got there and he was there and George wasn't. George's machine was there, and that's really weird because George never ever leaves. He always takes his machine with him, and that was just strange. And Mr. Fuller told me that George left. He was called away for some reason, and he left without the machine, and that we should just put the machine away for safekeeping. And so we did. We stored it in his bench, and I just thought it was a little bit weird, but I don't know. George was in a really bad mood, so maybe he was just really frustrated and left the machine. Maybe he's just really worked up and frustrated. And I just figured I'd talk to him about it the next day. Like I'd see him on Friday and we'd talk about it, but then he didn't come into work the next day.
Yeah.
So I talked to Mr. Fuller about it. And he told me that I should just drop it because it would be really bad for me if it got out what I was doing. I mean, look, I've got a mom and I've got a kid sister, and it is bad times, and I need all the work I can get, and I can't lose this job. So look, he said that he would report me for stealing the tools. And I can't. And of course, I wasn't stealing the tools. I was just borrowing them. But he said that if I kicked up a fuss, he'd report me for stealing the tools. I'd lose my job. They might find out that I'm wiring, and then I could never work again. And this is the only job I can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I don't know. Mr. Fuller, like, I haven't said anything, it's just, I don't know, I just keep thinking about, I just keep thinking about George and what happened to him, that's all.
Yeah.
But look, if you attach my name to any of this, Mr. Fuller's going to know exactly where you got the information, and then he's going to report me for theft. And then if I don't go to jail, I'm going to...
Yeah. Yeah. Charlie, you do a lot of good work. I'm going to spin it. I'm going to spin this for you. I'll leave your name anonymous. I don't think I'll even use any of this in my report. Thanks. I know that means a lot. So is the machine still there?
I don't know. We put it away Thursday night. I haven't seen it since. I don't know. Maybe?
I got some schematics. So I think I'll can I get your apartment so that I can see it after work?
Sure. Yes, yeah. Of course.
Just in case I need some help on that one.
Of course. And if you want, we could meet over dinner sometime as well if you wanted.
I'll think about it. Thanks.
Hey, I don't think Mr. Fuller's that bad of a guy. I just keep thinking about it. That's all.
No, I don't think Fuller. I mean, he's at least progressive.
Yeah, I mean, he's never given me...
Something's still weird. Sorry.
I know. I still keep thinking about it. I mean, I haven't said anything, but I just keep thinking about it. And maybe I should have said something, but I can't lose this job.
Yeah. No one can lose their job right now.
I don't know if you've seen all those guys out front. I mean,
they got nothing on you. I've seen you work on that radio. You know what you're doing. I'm gonna spin it real quick. I'm gonna just say I'm doing some other work not related to this case and take some pictures. Make it seem like I'm doing an article about professionalism of women in the workplace.
Hey, if the machine's not in the shop, he must have taken it home, but I don't know why he would. I mean, none of us really know what the machine does, and
George or Fuller?
Fuller. George always took it home with him. He never left it in the shop.
That's what's weird.
Maybe he was, I don't know, I don't know. I just figured he was frustrated, but then he just never came back to work, and I'm really worried about him.
We'll find him.
Vivian, he asked me to stay that night. He said he needed to tell me something. He needed to talk to me. He needed somebody there at the shop that night. And I couldn't. I had a job. And I should have stayed. I should have been there for my friend, and I didn't. And
I think Vivian pauses. I think she takes some time to like collect herself. And I think there's like a weird kind of mask slips over her. Like I think her face showed concern for a little bit, and then it stopped. I think there was like a like recomposition happening. It's like, you cannot take the guilt for someone's broken heart. You did your best. Sometimes people are broken. Take a breath. We'll do our best. But if you walk around with George's guilt on your heart, you will not move on.
Okay. But if
reach out when you can. Oh.
You're doing something though, right? I mean,
I'm writing a story. I'm getting truth. If truth is that George is a part of this cult, then that's going to be what it is. If truth is that George was framed, I'm going to get that truth. This is my first framed murder.
I like that you take action.
I think we both do.
Yeah.
Will's a little bit too quiet to not.
Yeah. Let me give you my phone number. And she like writes on this napkin, right, with a pen, her phone number, and she hands it to you.
All right. I think Vivian like tucks it in her notebook. If I spin it right, I'm gonna take your picture for the paper, but I'm gonna present it as a upcoming woman in the workforce, and I'm gonna do some good PR to Fuller. If I don't take your picture, it didn't work. So.
Oh. And you can tell that she's going to say something to you that's because that you have reassured her that she's feeling safer. And she'll say, Mr. Fuller, this may help you. He likes good publicity.
I mean, who doesn't?
But he really likes good publicity. That might help you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Better get back to work.
Oh, for sure. And I got this.
Okay. But I'm free this evening if you to show me those schematics.
I'll call if I'm not. I'm going to the cult after this. So if you don't hear a ring from me, I'm probably dead.
Do you need help?
No, this is what I do.
Oh, okay. George was interested in occult things.
Yeah, talking to the dead, right?
I don't know. He was just always interested in psychic phenomenon and radar, sonar. He was just interested in a lot of things, really. He had a really good mind.
Yeah. If it didn't go missing, he might be a new Einstein.
Yeah, I hope you'll find him. I hope he's just, I don't know, drinking somewhere, maybe?
I mean, for my sake, I hope he's in New York. For his sake, I hope he's in Alabama or something.
Yeah.
Find him.
Just let me know, yeah? And you're right. I can't do guilt.
Take steps forward.
It's actions.
Keep doing good work.
Thank you, Vivian. Thanks. You made me feel a lot better.
I always do. Vivian is the kind of person who needs the last word.
Oh, yeah. And Charlie will get up and tip her hat to you with a bit of a wink and head back towards Fuller's repair shop.
Great. I think she's gonna. I think this is gonna be a good article. Like, it's a weird article, but it's a good article.
Mm-hmm.
I think she takes some time. She pays her bill, and I think she's gonna go talk to Fuller. It's about 11:30, right?
You met to about 11, right? So you'll probably get there about quarter to noon.
All right.
And you got to make it across town to hit your 1 o'clock.
I think I've got to do a small thing with Fuller. I gotta close this up. I'd rather be late for Nephthys than not close this out.
Mm-hmm.
And making choices.
Making choices. You make your choices. So you are heading back, and you get back and when you get back, Charlie's already in her corner working, and the secretary, she sees you again, and she looks at you, and she's like, "May I help you?"
Yeah, I'm gonna go talk to Mr. Fuller. I think she just walked straight back. I think she's seen it. I'm gonna talk to Mr. Fuller. Because, I think Vivian knows what to do when she's burned a bridge.
And the secretary, is about, but you're already up this sort of wrought iron staircase and already up to this office. You have just, you don't even stop. And do you knock or do you just walk in?
I think Vivian does the double knock door open.
Right.
I think, lets them know I'm here.
And you walk in to his office, and he's a man in a suit. And it's, but he's got his suit jacket off, and it's over the chair, and he's wearing his suspenders. And he noticed you come up because he likes to look at the people working for him because he's that kind of guy. And his office has got a desk in it, and there are a couple of things you notice about the office. One, his desk is completely messy. It's full of papers everywhere. It is, he does not seem like an organized mind, I would say. You also notice that he has a little microphone, and you're thinking that it's probably so that he can broadcast, right?
Back to work.
Yes. You also notice, which might seem interesting to you, that there's a board on the wall with 16 switches, and underneath each switch there's a name in tape. And all the switches are currently up, but you can see...
you can turn off electricity to each one.
Exactly. Yeah. So that in case somebody's getting electrocuted, he can immediately sort of shut down, right, anything. And you might also notice that there is a letter on the desk that has... that's addressed to George Preston, that's on the desk, and it has been opened, and in really sort of precise handwriting on the front of it says personal, and you can see that all these letters that are they're lots of letters, and you can see a really nice neat handwriting on all the letters, sort of saying personal, business, sort of dividing all of them up to see what kinds of letters they are. And he sees you, and when you walk in, he says, Don't tell me. I know exactly what you're here for. You are here for something unusual and difficult. I'm gonna tell you, miss, Fuller Electrical Repair is the best electrical repair shop in all of New York City. We will give you the fuller experience, the best experience. And I'm telling you something, you can get something here you can't get anywhere else. Missy, let me tell you, better than new or your money back. It is a guarantee. Guarantee better than ever. I'm going to tell you, we can do it all. Small, large. We've got the best electrical repair. And if you tell a friend, you'll get 15% off your next repair.
My, that is a spiel. Hi, I am Vivian Sinclair from the New York Times. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, so you're not here for well, you might be here for business.
It is business. So I think she still extends her hand of like, shake it.
And he shakes your hand. He goes, Mrs.
Wait, I have to think. I'm not married. So, Miss
Sinclair, it is lovely to have the New York Times here. What do I owe the honor? I hope you've seen have you heard about us? We are one of the best electrical repair shops in all of New York.
Actually, I have heard some good things about you, and this is where my flattery starts to go in. I'm like, and I hear you have a stellar employee, Charlie Fitzpatrick.
Oh,
doing
yes.
Well down there. I took her out to coffee, wanted to hear her thoughts on it, and I think she's great enough that I can write a report about integration of the workplace in the future. And I think Fuller Electrical is kind of on the leading edge of that. So if I can write a report, one-page article just about, or column, just saying how great it's going. I'd love to take a picture of her. That's okay?
Oh, sure. And also, I mean, I can be in that picture as well.
You know what? Let's go down there and we'll take a picture of both of y'all on that table.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And actually, if possible, I have to make an appointment at 1:00 today, but I would love to see you after that. Maybe more flattery. After that, I come back, take a little bit of article, ask you some questions.
Oh, of course. Anything, because we at Fuller, we are certainly the wave of the future.
I have heard about some future inventions I'd love some questions about later.
Oh, we have, the best employees. We have the highest standards. We only hire the very, very best. Many people try to be one of our electrical repair officers, but they're not good enough. Only the tip-top, tippity-top, only the best at Fuller. Huh?
Those high standards are what Charlie's excelling at, so...
please, and he's gonna sort of come around the desk, and sort of gesture towards the door for you.
You
want that letter, don't you?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm gonna just do a quick look. Mm-hmm. Does it look like there's a lock to this office?
Yes. You do have lock picking.
I do. I think I'm going to try to come back later and open that up. So I think I'm going to, I think that's what I'm going to do later.
You do also have filch.
Yeah, but I don't want to risk it this early.
Yeah. Because if you failed, it would be bad.
Oh, it would be so bad right now. So I think I'm gonna come. I think I'm gonna walk with him, and I think I'm gonna just take the photo. I think I'm gonna try to pose it where like I have Charlie who's working. I'm gonna pose him, and I'm gonna have Mr. Fuller right there. I'm gonna just take a picture with the huge background. I think I'm actually gonna write. I think Vivian's gonna actually write this article. So I think it is. I think Vivian was impressed with Charlie, and I think like just that shock and appeal.
Yeah.
Is very.
And the secretary gives you the stink eye the entire time.
Oh, sure. Like Vivian makes friends with important people, so.
Somebody in chat pointed out that it's not that you're bad with people, it's just that you're bad with people who cannot give you things. And like people, like the other people who are working there are sort of noticing a bit of this, sort of like, oh, like what is this? Well, this is interesting. And they're like, oh, huh. But they just keep to their work, right? Because there's that sort of pressure outside, and you get these really good photographs. And Charlie, she works hard, and she gives a good smile. And Fuller is like, and he goes, oh, it was my idea to hire Charlie. Once I saw that she was so talented, I hired her right away because, as you say, I'm forward thinking, and I think that the best person should have the job.
Best person, yes. I think I'm gonna try to be really subtle about this. Really subtle. What time does Fuller Electronics close?
Are you asking?
I think I am.
Well, thing about Fuller is that we close at about 6. I keep them working from 8 to 6 every day, which are pretty good hours, I'd like to say. But I would like to point out that I like to think of myself as a giving and kind employer, and I allow my employees to stay late, to do extra work if they want, to work on private individual projects. We have a number of people here who I like to think of as being very promising. For example, over there, that's Richard Ramirez. He is working on a bicycle-powered generator. We have a number of inventors and...
I think it's very, very... And I think, do I want to get into shenanigans? I do. Mr. Fuller, would you love to meet me at 8:00 tonight? I'm thinking of a restaurant that is across town.
Oh, I would love to. However, I have got business, I'm afraid. I'm working on something myself.
Oh, are you?
I used to be a bit of an inventor back in my youth.
I see. Well, it's devastating for me, but I'll figure it out. I think she writes her. There's no such thing as cell phones.
This is true.
Oh, this is very hard. Well, we'll have to catch up another time. I've got to run. So I hope to hear from both of you a little bit later.
I hope you got my good side.
Both sides of your good side.
It was very nice to meet you, Miss Sinclair. And then, he sort of escorts you out, and the secretary just gives a little sniff, and he kind of gives her a look as he's like, Petunia. This is Miss Sinclair with the New York Times. If she comes back, make sure you give her anything she needs and get me immediately.
Of course. Petunia is very good at helping me out. And I think Vivian just gives a handshake to Petunia.
Petunia, she grips your hand just a little bit too hard. And just digs in with her nails just a little bit, and she gives you that smile, and the smile does not reach the eyes.
No, we both had to smile. Shoot. Okay.
So, as you leave, and you see, this the group of men still wandering around, and some of them are thinking they're talking do we stay later? Do we, and somebody's like, well, I'm not going to leave. You can leave if you want to, but I'm getting this job, right? And they're still, right, in that moment. And somebody's like, I can't leave. My wife will kill me. As you sort of head out towards Brooklyn Heights to find the
fancy part.
The Temple of Nephthys.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Shoot, my plan didn't work. But we'll see.
So, you head towards Brooklyn Heights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sort of an artistic neighborhood, right? So you would imagine your friend Stella hanging out here, perhaps. It's kind of it's a little bit bohemian.
This is my first time in Brooklyn Heights.
And it's nice. And you sort of hit this commercial sort of area. And you come to the address, and what you see is what used to clearly be some kind of cafe or storefront. And you know this because you know how on the letters of the window they'd have
Yeah.
such and such cafe. Clearly, the letters have been scraped off, but not completely, so you can still see some of the outline. But it's got these dark curtains, so you cannot see in. And on the top, it says, Temple of Isis, and there's this Ankh there. So it's clear that it has been made obvious that this is going to be a place that is like they're not being shy about being this sort of occult space, and it kind of looks like a storefront church. And these things are popping up everywhere nowadays. We're at a moment in the middle of the Depression where people are trying to find something to believe in, and so there are churches everywhere, and this is clearly one of the many. And these sort of heavy sort of dark almost black curtains are making sure that no one can see anything that goes on the inside.
All right. I think Vivian takes a moment, adjusts, and then just walks in.
And you walk in, and there before you see Madam Isis. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Oh, no!
Oh, yes!
This mystery just keeps getting bigger.
Everyone, we're going to take a short 10-minute break so that we can all, get some water, stretch our legs, be good to our backs. When we get back, Vivian Sinclair is going to meet Madam Isis.
A lot of great characters in this.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I want to know what happens now. PH wants to know what happens now, but you don't get to know right now.
10 minutes. You can do it.
10 minutes. I want to thank Barontor for the resubscription. Thank you, Barontor. And I want to thank everyone who's been here so far. We will find out in 10 minutes what happens. Be right back. And we are back. Hello, everyone. And I know it says part 1, but it's really part 2. So just, we're in part 2, everyone.
Secret. We're in part 2. That's a secret.
Secret. So, hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is part 2 of Fatal Frequencies, and this is the second half of part 2. And we're going to close it out today. So Rose says, after looking back at my earlier statement, I love a lot of the style and positive cultural aspects of the 1920s. Not every part of them. Oh, yeah. There are a bunch of the 1920s that were sketch. So we are playing Fatal Frequencies. A recap was asked, and in this particular adventure, our intrepid reporter, Vivian Sinclair, played by
Jackie Dash.
Jakidash. Who is our sort of cynical reporter. I'm sorry, I'm not Fuller. I don't need my suspenders right now.
They are great.
We've got to take them off. Our sort of a cynical reporter who was approached by a young woman whose fiance has gone missing and who's being accused of murder. The fiance, George Preston, is an electrical repair person who's been working on some sort of machine. And on Wednesday night last week, a person in his apartment was murdered, in his apartment building. So his next door neighbor was murdered. And then the very next day, Thursday night, he doesn't come home. He goes to work. He doesn't come home. Mm-hmm. And the police assume he ran and that he is the killer. And Sadie wants our protagonist to prove that he's not the killer and find him, hopefully. And in her investigation, she's learned that people saw strange things that night. There was a weird electrical, perhaps almost brownout happening. And the man who was murdered, Myron Fink, was ripped in half and has weird,
suction cup, poison nubs, tentacle
nubs on his body that happened after the fact. And the timeline was lights flicker, weird sound, people start seeing things. Myron Fink screams, everything goes back to normal. And that's weird. We know that there is a sort of a cult that's a medium that's interested in whatever George was working on. We know that his machine is missing, that it apparently theoretically would allow you to be able to sort of see ghosts, sort of like a radar maybe, or a radio. We also have Vivian has sort of set herself up for the story. She has seen the body. It was gross.
Gross.
It was gross. She made a date with her cop contact, and she has now gone to the electrical repair shop where she's learned that George was feeling great on Wednesday and not so great on Thursday. He was at work, but then after work, no one saw him. And that the last person to see him was probably his boss, Mr. Fuller.
Right.
And
who's hard to get a hold of right now.
Who's hard to get a hold of. So we also know that, and this was a thing that happened last time, that when she was investigating the apartment building and getting witness accounts, including an old man who said he saw strange things floating in the air, including jellyfish monsters floating in the air, and nobody believes him because he's probably a drunk. But that's what he saw. That there was a young woman who was trying to break into the apartment, and that young woman works for Madame Isis of the Temple of Nephthys, and has made an appointment for Vivian to meet Madame Isis. So our Vivian has arrived at the Temple of Nephthys and has opened the door. And I've got my Ankh necklace, because there is Madame Isis, who is not dressed like an outrageous, psychic. She's dressed all in black with a sort of a high-necked dress, and her hair is sort of pulled back sort of severely. She doesn't look flashy at all. But besides all the black that she's wearing, she has this one gold Ankh necklace that she has. And she is sort of sitting at sort of like a sort of like a table, and she's drinking some tea. And when you just walk in, she sees you, and she looks at you, and she says, "Louise Charleston, I presume.
It seems your psychic tendencies are stronger than I have heard.
Yes. I was told I'd be getting an appointment with Louise Charleston of the New York Times.
And that is me. I think Vivian comes and like sits and settles down. And I assume there's another chair.
Oh yes, there's a nice chair. And on the inside you can see, it's interesting because there's this sort of like front area where she's at, and you can see that there's a sort of space in the back where she would hold her services, where there's like a little raised stage. If you can imagine like a coffee house that has a little bit of a stage area.
For like poetry reading,
yes.
But in this case it's like seancing, yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. And there are a bunch of chairs that are all empty, and she's sort of a little bit off to the side where she's sort of having and she probably also has an office in the back. And she says, it is so strange. I'm getting a sense from you that there is no Louise Charleston who works at the New York Times.
Well, seems you need to look harder next time. Hi, I'm Lou. I think just no. I think it's both we both know that we're lying. Like, you run a cult. We both know we're lying. But enough about me. We're here to talk about you and your connection to this machine.
You're here about Mr. Preston.
I am. His works are interesting enough, and his history is something I am investigating.
I must ask you, who are you really, or at least who do you work for?
The New York Times.
So you are a reporter then?
Yes.
And I assume you are investigating Mr. Preston's disappearance.
And the murder that happened because of his questionably strange machine.
Oh.
And importantly, why a psychic would like a machine that can see ghosts.
As I'm sure you know, I am gifted to see beyond the veil, to hear and to speak with those who are long past.
Yeah.
Well, although such a machine would not be necessary for my talent, having such a machine would be revolutionary, especially if others could see their dead loved ones as well. If I had such a machine, I would be the most famous of all mediums in the world.
Did you help fund the machine before it got started?
No. But I would certainly... I have entered into an agreement with Mr. Preston that he would sell the machine only to me once it is proven to work.
Do you mind if I rolled a sense trouble? Like, I feel like this is the edge of like, it's not exactly dangerous, but I want to know how far this psychic will go.
At this moment, well, first off, this is more like assess honesty, I would say, than a sense trouble. She is clearly very good at her job, which is not being a psychic, which is being a con woman. You do not...
She might be psychic, but con woman first.
Yes. Now, you do get the sense that she does believe in psychicness, but you don't think that she herself necessarily has psychic powers, right? Necessarily, like it's a little bit unclear, but you think there's an awful lot of con woman going on in her whole deal. She seems a little sketchy, a little ruthless, but you do not feel danger coming off of her.
Okay.
And she says, I have not yet seen the machine in action, but Mr. Preston told me that he would have it working, well, by the end of last week.
And have you heard about what the machine might do?
Oh, yes. This machine would allow us to bring those who are dead into our vision, like a radio. And so, as with a radio you can hear the voices of those who are living, this machine would allow all in the room to hear the voices of those who are past. Could you imagine what this would mean for my profession?
For your profession to be wonderful. The dead are dead for a reason.
But there are always those who wish to communicate with those they have lost. Wait. I'm getting a spirit. It seems there is a spirit who wishes to communicate with you, Miss last name that I do not know.
Let's not play games here. Everyone's got someone who's died. I understand how this works. More important to me, I think this is the part where like we're both just gonna be the worst.
Oh yes.
I need to know if you at all and your tiny child have done anything to George Preston.
No, we haven't. As a matter of fact, we are quite eager to find him, or at least his machine. If you found his machine, please note that I am willing to pay quite a lot for it.
What if George Preston was going to sell the machine to somebody else?
Well, he wouldn't. Mr. Preston was very impressed by me. He came to visit quite a few of my gatherings, my communions with the dead. You are certainly welcome to attend. We have communings at 8 o'clock every evening. And we have one tonight, of course.
Of course. It is a day of the week.
Of course. And no, he was a believer. A believer, a seeker of truth, as it were. He questioned me about the afterlife. He consulted me quite a lot for knowledge of how it works. He believed in me very, very much. So I know for a fact he would never sell it to anyone else. George was... I'm a very good judge of character. And I know that George believed in me.
Do the spirits of the dead, do they look like people?
And you can tell she's trying to find the right way to answer this question. Not the correct answer that you want to hear, but the answer that she wants to give. And she says, my understanding is yes.
I think Vivian starts to stand up.
Wait.
Just right now.
one moment. And she knocks on the table, and a door in the back opens, and Pearl LeBlanc comes out. And she looks a little embarrassed. And she steps forward, and Madame Isis says, "Please." And Pearl says, "I'm really sorry if I upset you in any way or inconvenienced you. I'm not supposed to do anything to make the church look bad, and anything that I may have done was all my idea and was never put up to it by anyone else, and I'm very sorry."
I'm gonna try. I want to see if this might be an assessment, or like a. Is this something that she was told to say? The fact that like I was not put up to this by that thing, because like I think Madame Isis probably told her to open the.
Okay. Here's how your assess honestly pings on that one. You get the sense that maybe Madame Isis didn't say directly, but you get the sense that maybe she indirectly very strongly hinted, right? It's sort of like a plausible deniability.
Oh, I didn't mean that way.
Yeah.
I meant get in there in a different way. Now they're breaking it.
And Madame Isis says to you, "You know, I would be very interested in the machine, or at least any schematics or plans. Would you happen to have anything like that?"
You know, I don't think George, when he picked up, left anything behind.
I see. You do know that I will purchase anything that works, that I find, that you might come across.
Of course. I know how important it is to you to be able to see the dead.
Yes, as opposed to just hear them.
Wait. The radio means that they can hear it, right?
Radio is hearing, but she seems to think that maybe also vision would be involved.
Yeah. If I find anything, I know where to go to. Would you mind if I took a picture of you and Pearl for the paper?
You may take a picture of me. You do not need a picture of Pearl.
Okay.
She's not the center of the church, the Temple of Nephthys.
And I think Vivian is at this point going to just let this medium choose where to take the picture.
Oh, she has a great place. She's got great lighting, and she gets herself like behind these dramatic curtains with like these sort of like Egyptian symbols, and like she stands in this like very severe way.
And as she's kind of getting that ready, is there anything that I can see that I can just like evidence collect, pick up that I think is suspicious? Like, is there like, I don't know, a set of journals and one of them says his name on it or anything like that? I doubt it, but like I thought this is a good time to steal.
So she's getting her stuff ready, and you look around, and it's interesting to you because there doesn't seem to be anything suspicious in this temple besides the temple itself. It is, when you assess it in this way and you look around, looking at, thinking about your evidence collection and looking at your eye, this whole place is set up to be impressive to rubes, to people who don't know, right? All of the lines and angles and decor are set up to make her look much more impressive, especially when she's on the stage.
Yeah.
And to keep, like, there are these like little, and like you notice little details, little things like a little vase of flowers, or like maybe like a small, like a little porcelain doll. These little things, these little touches that are going to make people who've lost someone feel a little bit more vulnerable or sad, right? And they're like not highlighted, but there are these little things about that are a little bit incongruous amidst all this sort of Egyptian, sort of mysticism that are just, you can tell, are just made to make people sort of like think about loss and to feel a little bit vulnerable so she can take better advantage of them.
Cool. I think I'm gonna extend my thoughts into this room. I think there's eventually going to be like when thinking about porcelain dolls, I think there's going to be a small music box that's open of a ballerina, and I think Vivian actually walks by, probably closes it. Like I think she's like, no. Like I think she's subtle about it.
Yeah.
It's probably when like the person is setting up, but I think she's like,
yeah. Oh yeah. And like when you do your evidence collection on this, no evidence of George, but so much evidence of really calculated predatory manipulation, right? Like,
no, this is, in another life, Vivian could have done this. Like, I think that there's like a little bit of respect going on here.
Yeah. And she gets your picture, right? She's very excited about that. And as this is happening, there's a bit of a knock, like a bit of a hurried knock, and a woman walks in. And she says, "Madam Isis, I must speak with you." It's this woman. And Madam Isis, like, it's this like split second moment where there's a little bit of like exasperation, but then this sort of calm, like this like, a little slip of the mask. And this woman, she's got, her clothes are a little shabby, and she's quite thin, and as if she's lost weight recently, and hasn't had the time or the money to sort of like rebuy her wardrobe. And you've seen her type before. She looks like the type that like is on a breadline maybe, and she is sort of fidgety and nervous. And she walks in and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but have you heard anything about my husband, Madam Isis? Has he come and spoken to you yet?" And Madam Isis says, "Addie, you'll just have to come to the communion tonight. I'm afraid I'm being interviewed by the New York Times at the moment, and I've not been able to commune with your husband's spirit. But if you come tonight to our communion, I'm sure there might be a little bit more that I could say for you." And this woman, she just looks she's like, "He's been missing. He's been missing since Friday. He hasn't come home." And Madam Isis is like, "Oh, there.
Addie, was it? Hi.
Yeah, yes.
I'm Louise Charleston. I'm from the New York Times.
Oh.
Do you mind just telling me a little bit about your husband?"
"Oh, he's a good man. He was looking for a job. He went off to try to find one. He had a good lead. He's an electrician, and he had a very good lead to get a job over at Fuller Repair, perhaps. And he just never came back."
Madam Isis, I think this would be extremely valuable for the New York Times if we could do a small, I just want to see how you do your day to day.
And Madam Isis says, "My dear, as you know, when people go missing, it's very difficult. The veil is so strong. And you have Streetwise, do you not?"
I do. I am. This is related.
Your Streetwise tells you people who con people do not want to do a seance on someone who may not be dead yet.
Right, because they could just be drinking, like, yeah, for sure. Sure.
So you can tell that what Madam Isis is doing is trying to string this woman along to get money, but not wanting to commit to a full-on seance in case this person's going to come back tomorrow and get her in trouble. Right? That is clearly what is happening, that she's wanting to keep this woman around, maybe get money from her, but she doesn't want to commit when a person's only been missing for a couple of days. to like, your spirit is talking to me, because that could get her in trouble.
Right. And the spirit of the goddess Nephthys can only do so much for missing people.
Yes. So she's clearly wanting to keep her on the line, but not wanting to commit to a dead spirit.
Addie, what was your husband's name?
Oh, Max Sims. He's done a lot of different sorts of work, a handyman sort, and my understanding is that Mr. Fuller said he might give him a permanent job. He worked there all day. He was going to work there all day Friday, he said. And I mean, I spoke to I went down there and I spoke to the men hanging around. They saw him. They said that he was asked to work on a one-day basis, and I spoke to Mr. Fuller, but he said that Max just wasn't a good enough electrician to be hired on, and so... But he did say that he paid him good money for that day, but Max never came home, and everyone else says that he probably just went drinking, but Max isn't the sort to go drinking. He wouldn't do that.
I think Vivian is actually going to steal Addie away. I think there's going to be a hand to be like, could you describe him for me?
And Madam Isis is just like watching you like do your mojo, and she's like, will this interfere with my mojo? Probably not. So she's just like,
yeah, we have similar mojos of like, manipulation, but not like, I'm not gonna tell her dead husband is alive. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just, like, I'm just gonna, we don't have to do the full scene, but I'm actually trying to get a description, because I do want to call I want to call the coroner and see if something has popped up. The lens.
And she pulls out like this little photograph of her and her husband and two children, and this is clearly taken at like a Sears and Roebuck, and like they're a little bit awkward and they're in their Sunday best, and he's like a kind of a big fellow, like sort of like strong, like a sort of a burly sort of fellow. And they're both sort of like making these kind of like slightly awkward smiles in front, and the kids have got their, like the little boy and a little girl, their hair is sort of like, it's this sort of awkward. They clearly don't have a lot of money, but this was like an important thing. And she's like, this is my husband Max, and I've been to the city morgue every single day, and I have to get a neighbor to watch the children, and they haven't found him.
Addie, you are a strong, independent woman. I'm gonna do a little bit of searching, and maybe I could help. And do you have a friend's number or a number I can call in case I find anything?
There's a number in my hotel building. It would be the receptionist, but she can come and get us at the apartment.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Can I have that, please?
Of course. And Madam Isis like hands over a piece of paper, and Addie writes down her number.
Oh, I thought Madam Isis had the number on the
paper.
No.
She just like a blank piece of paper, and Addie writes down her number. She's like, my husband, listen, my husband wouldn't go missing. He wouldn't go drinking. He's very committed to us. I know that. I just don't know what happened to him. I'm afraid he got maybe hit by a car, but he's not in the hospitals.
You know what? I'll do my work. I can't promise anything, and Madam Isis here probably can do way more than me.
Madam Isis just sort of stands.
Yeah. If I find anything, I will 100% let you know.
And Madam Isis looks to you, and she nods, and she says, your husband may be beyond the veil. If he is, I will be able to find him. There is a spirit that is lingering. If he is yet alive, I'm certain that our reporter friend here will be able to find him. But, Mrs. Sims, pardon me, please, I think, would you like a cup of tea? Certainly come back tonight, though. And Madam Isis pours her a cup of tea as Addie sort of sits and frets a little bit about her missing husband. And she says, I asked, Mr. Fuller said he just wasn't good enough at his job.
And you know what? No, Vivian does not pat. I think Vivian just, as soon as she's kind of handled, just leaves. Like, she's got the photo. She's got the information she needs. Another person dead. The electronics might still be there. This is.
I need you to do something for me.
Okay.
I need you to make a sense trouble roll.
Oh, yes. All right.
Where are you heading?
This is actually a weird place because I do want to make some calls.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really do anything. The only thing I was going to do is at like 2 a.m. I was going to try to sneak into Fuller Electronics.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't really do that because I know he's going to work late. But I'm also worried.
He says he tends to work until 8 is what he says.
Okay, so maybe I can get a little bit more like 9 or 10. Seeing a seance doesn't really help me. I don't think she's anything. I know that's kind of cutting the lead, but I don't think you're gonna be like, this is useless to me. Like this is useless.
She seems like a con woman to you who really wants that machine.
Yeah, no, I don't think she's enough to kill, but I think she's enough to go to Fuller Electronics and make a deal with the next guy who has it.
Yeah.
So I'm at this sticky place where I might just do some research.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might spend some time just calling around, trying to figure out if there's any leads on George Preston's location,
and you also have the schematics that you could take to Charlie as well.
Right, and I was planning to do that at 9 o'clock as well. So I like, you look at these schematics. I'm gonna look around.
Yeah. So you're heading perhaps towards a phone booth or back to your apartment.
Yeah. I think my place has a phone, so I'll go to my place.
All right. So as you're heading back, I need you to make a sense trouble roll, and your advanced number is a 5.
Okay, I have 2 dice in this one, so I'm hoping for high rolls. Where's my D6 button? Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
let's see it. That's a 1.
That's bad. I'm gonna roll my second dice.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rough start.
That's a 5. That's a 5 exactly. You are heading back down the street towards the subway to get back home. Right. And you maybe you see something interesting in a shop window. And maybe you glance at it, Just pure chance, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as you just glance, you catch right out of the corner of your eye a man, big, broad, in a dark suit and a dark hat, who just slips right behind the corner. Right? You were like, oh, you're being followed.
Yeah, I've been followed before, but I didn't think I was gonna be following this one, honestly. Mm-hmm. I think what I'm gonna try to do, I think there's gonna be a moment of like, where am I? And I think if there is one, I'd like to try to slip into a department store. Mm-hmm.
You're and like, my goal. Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to try to. Not, and here's the thing, Vivian wouldn't be like, oh, I'm being followed. I think she'd try to use the department store to her advantage to slip. I mean, really, Vivian wants to know who he is, but to slip. Yeah.
There is a department store 2 blocks forward. You can make your way there, right?
Yeah, I'm going to make my way there. I'm going to keep to busy streets. I'm even if it means I'm walking longer, I'm going to keep to busy streets. I'm going to walk normal pace. I'm going to, calm.
And you are sort of maneuvering. You've got to make your way there. There's a small department store. It's not too big, but big enough because this is sort of a commercial area. And you're heading towards this department store, trying to keep yourself somewhat busy. And it's probably like 2-ish, sort of like
maybe like 3.
Maybe it's 3-ish. It's like sort of late afternoon, right? And as you're passing, like you sort of like maybe you sort of see if he's still there, and he doesn't seem to be there. And you're moving down, And as you pass an alley, these hands rush out to grab you. And I need a fighting roll.
Okay, that's also 2 rolls. That's also...
I'm going to note that because you knew you were being followed and you were paying attention, your advance is only a 3.
Oh, that's nice. Let's see. This might be a chance where I get one of those pushes back.
This is entirely true, yes.
Okay, I'm going to roll 1 dice first.
Go ahead. Yes, you, my friend, you get your roll with a die left over, which means you get another push. Let me give you one right there.
That's nice.
That's
nice. I'm going to move that one to view in the spot because that's going to bug me.
But you also, because you succeeded, you also get an edge. And let me give you your edge.
Everything's coming up Vivian right now.
Everything's coming up Vivian. For me and for you.
Would you like me to read it?
Please do.
Okay. Oh, yeah. This is Marty's respect. Continuity. You've proven yourself one tough broad. Spend this card to get a favor from Marty. Just be sure it's the kind of favor you can live with.
So I'm going to ask you.
All right.
This big, huge man grabs you and pulls you into this alley. Tell me how you turn the tables on him in order to get his respect.
I have a brick in my purse.
Yes, you do.
We established that in episode 1.
Yes, you do.
I think Vivian whirls it and just clobbers in the side of the face.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Vivian runs.
Mm-hmm.
I think after clobbers, takes some steps back, and then like kicks off her heels and is like, "Who are you?"
And so you like just swing that purse, and it like you have a brick in your purse, right? And this just goes whoosh, right, and he's like, oh, and he like staggers a bit, and he straightens himself up, and he sees you there, ready, heels off, purse in hand. And you demand, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Ayah!" And like, there's like you can tell he's gonna get a shiner, right? You can tell.
Yeah, it's a brick.
It's a brick. And he's like, "Jehoshaphat, dame, why'd you gotta go and do that?"
I don't know. Your big meaty paws on my person? Gotta ask a lady.
I just wanted to have a conversation with you. You didn't need to go and hit me in the face. But I respect that.
If you want a conversation, I love a cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee, you say? Why don't we just have the conversation here in the alley? I feel a little bit less exposed.
All right. I'm keeping my brick like I'm ready. Like,
calm down. I just wanted to see if you knew anything about a Mr. George Preston.
You know, that name's everywhere these days. Who are you? Even before we get to that, let's.
Who am I? I'm just ow, I think you broke my tooth. I've had a broken tooth before. I'm a local, I work for a local businessman.
All right. Is this a local businessman interested in the occult?
No. You can call me Marty. My friends call me Marty the Mouth. Now, you have Streetwise.
Yes, I do.
You know who this man is.
Oh, good, because I almost laughed at his name.
You've never met him. But you know that he works for Lucky Luciano, the mob boss, the boss of all mob bosses.
Oh.
This is a local loan shark, right? That
Mm-hmm.
But, well, he works for a loan shark, right? He works
Right.
for, like, so he's all mobbed up. He's part of the mob, which makes him very dangerous, but probably not as dangerous to you. Probably more dangerous to anybody who might have borrowed money from him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He says, I just work for a local businessman who's, you know, generous with his time. And, money. And I'm just looking for Mr. Preston, and I saw you snooping around that church that he goes to.
How behind is he on his payments?
He's behind. And here's the thing, my boss, he don't do, what do you call it, philanthropy, you know?
How much is he in? A good poker game or a couple poker games?
$200. Side note, that's $2,000-ish.
I mean, that's a lot in this economy.
Yeah, it's actually probably more than 2,000 because I think the exchange rate for the 30s is actually a little bit worse than it was for the 20s. So it's like a couple grand.
Yeah, no, this is rough.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I mean, not enough to kill someone over, but pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh. I could see why he's very interested.
So, see, you got a camera. Makes me think you're some kind of snoop, like a reporter type, which means you probably got a reporter's notebook, and I would be very appreciative if you let me take a look at your notes.
A good reporter does not give her notebook up. However, I think we could help each other in this case.
Okay.
For someone to go to. I mean, you probably know more about George Preston than I do. How long has he been borrowing from your philanthropy? Not philanthropist.
Businessman.
Yes.
Businessman. Well, he's got some kind of wacky invention. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. But he promises he's going to get it fixed, is going to sell it, make a lot of money, pay back the money that he owed. He owed this money to us due at the end of last week. Well, no. It's at the beginning of the week.
Monday.
Yeah. Beginning of the week, last week, Monday. He didn't have it yet, yada, yada. He says he's gonna get it. He just needed to finish a little bit. I gave him a little bit of time to the end of the week. You know, I was like, I'll give you the end of the week, but it's due. Pressed him a little bit. Found him here at this church. Made a bit of a scene. I find if you make a bit of a scene in front of where people, got friends, they'll be a little bit more willing to give you what they owe you. Mana. It doesn't show up, right? So I figure maybe I go to his work.
Mm-hmm.
And I make a little bit of a scene where he works. You know, nothing bad. Just a little bit of a show up at his work a little bit. Let him know that I know where he works, know where he lives. Normal thing. But, goes into work on a Thursday, right?
Yeah. When did you come make that scene?
That's the thing. I didn't get to make the scene. Because they never came out of work. Well, at least not out the front.
Wait, you're saying he never left Thursday?
Well, I figured he must have worked, right? He must have left out the back or something. From what I know, he's in work. I'm waiting, right? His boss is in there. I'm waiting. That friend of his, short-haired dame,
Mm-hmm.
she leaves, like, into business. I figure it'll be a little bit of time before he comes out. If his boss is still in there, that'll be good because it'll be embarrassing, right? And then I'm just waiting, I'm waiting. And then things get weird for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
There's like the lights start flickering on and off. There's street lights, you know, like on the block. But see, I'm smart. I figured it was some kind of trick to make me look away, to get distracted so he could sneak out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't look away. I keep my eye on that front door so we can have a friendly talk. And then lights come back on as normal. Nothing happens. Then it's been a couple hours, right? I'm waiting here for a couple hours. It must have been like 10 at this point in time, right? 10 o'clock or so.
Okay.
Then that dame comes back with a tool bag. She walks in. I'm waiting. And then her and her boss walk back out again. I'm waiting. George never comes out. What I figured is that dame, the short-haired dame, she sees me when she's coming back in. She tells George that I'm out waiting. He slips out the back. That's what because there's like a, what do you call it? Like a door back there for deliveries or whatever. So I figured they must have tipped him. He went out back, but I was like, no big deal. I will catch him again. But then I don't see him again. So I'm trying to find him because here's the thing. I got to find that guy. I got to get that $200. You know what I mean? I got to get it.
I understand. I think you just gave me exactly where he is. Where can I contact you if I find this $200?
Oh, and he pulls out this little business card.
Excellent.
And it says like Marty Matucci, businessman. It just says businessman.
I think Vivian takes it. Everything's coming up. Everything's getting like together. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hey, look, I respect a dame with a good right hook, or whatever that was. Still seeing a little bit of stars. Here's the thing. I gotta get that $200 back from this guy. It's my job to get it, and if I don't get it, it's no good. Do you see what I'm saying? It's no good.
How good are you at opening doors? I got locks.
You're in an alley with him. Like,
Yeah,
you're in an alley together. They're not people eavesdropping. He just like makes sure there's no one, no witnesses. I've been known to open a lock or two when it is necessary in a completely legal, sometimes kind of way.
Super legal, of course. Keep your night open tonight. I think I found a way to get this all wrapped up.
Keep an eye out tonight. An eye out where?
For a call.
Okay. You think you might know where to find this man?
I think I might find a way to get your money back. Which I think for you is pretty even.
If I get the money back, then my boss is happy and then I'm happy. What's your name?
Like this is hard because I think, you know what? Vivian Sinclair.
Vivian Sinclair. You do me this. I won't forget it.
I expect it.
Vivian Sinclair. Do I know your name?
No. I mean, you should. You will, but not yet.
All right. Hey, you know what they said about this guy? That he murdered somebody.
Hey, you've seen the guy. How strong is he?
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
Not very strong. Not very strong at all.
Yeah, I don't think you can kill this guy.
Well, the police sure do. But, I don't know. He didn't look the type. He didn't look the type for... I mean, he was just one of them, what do you call them? One of those eggheads, you know?
A dreamer.
Yeah. And, my boss likes to support, dreamers. But you gotta get paid back.
Dreamer's gotta wake up sometime.
Yeah. Hi, Miss Sinclair. It was nice to meet you. I gotta get my tooth fixed, but
Next time, come talk to me in the light. And I'll scare in the dark.
It's fine. That's fine. Next time, but you never know how people will respond. Sometimes people don't take your call.
No, I get it. I understand. You are an intimidating force in the light too.
Thank you very much. I like to think of myself as a person of influence. I'll be by my phone for tonight.
Thanks.
And
See
he
you later, Mark.
was like, I think I'm bleeding.
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna tell him. Go to the dentist.
Okay. And he heads off the other direction from the alley. The way from what you figured, he probably once he saw he ducked out, probably went around the block and then down the alley to sort of get ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And he heads off back that direction, probably towards a subway or wherever he stays.
I'm gonna do a couple things in quick succession because I think I know where my last stand's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to role play these out.
Tell me what you got.
I need to make a copy of the schematics.
Mm-hmm.
Hardcore copy.
Oh, that's fine.
And I don't know how copying blueprints works, but I just want that. B, I want to call and see how much the schematics are worth.
Who do you want to call?
I think I'm going to talk to Madame Isis.
Mm-hmm. So you can make copies of those schematics.
Yeah.
No problem.
We have a big copier at work.
Oh, yeah. You work for a newspaper. Like, you can get them no problem. And when you call Madame Isis, you hear Pearl, Temple of Nephthys.
I don't want to disturb the madam. I'm hoping you answer this question. I believe I found an old copy of some weird-looking hieroglyphics, but I learned they're electronic patterns. By the fiance. How much are those worth? How much? No. I'm looking for 500.
500? One moment. Like you can hear the little the receiver being put on the desk.
Yeah.
And then probably quicker than could be if a person wasn't hustling, you hear Madame Isis.
Hi. Madame Isis. I know you are incredibly interested, and I found these weird I thought they were hieroglyphics, but they're electronic patterns. And I would love to donate them to the Temple of Isis for $500.
I see. My dear, first I would have to make sure the schematics function. But if everything is well, then I could certainly accept those the donation of those schematics for $400.
If you obviously with your psychic abilities know that they will work. I might be able to find the actual mechanics. So how about this? I need $200 today for these schematics I can drop off. And if they function, which I'm going to test them tonight, I expect those $200 afterwards.
$200 for schematics that I've not checked with an electrician seems strange.
I will also give you my name.
And if the schematics don't work?
Then I think you're barking up the wrong tree. But I'm going to go to a testing today.
Well, if you're going to a testing, this is what I will make. This is what the deal I will make. I will give you the $200 for the schematics, but if they do not work, then I want the $200 returned. And your real name.
All right.
If, on the other hand, you can bring me the machine, then it will be $500.
Oh, no. The machine won't be for sale. It's not mine to give.
Well, it basically belongs to me already. We made a deal.
$400 if the schematics work. I will document proof.
And the machine?
Not mine to give.
Fair.
It belongs, yeah. It's still George Preston's. I'll be there in about an hour and a half. I expect a check. I expect cash.
That is doable. I will, and actually, you can get that all in that time period.
Yeah.
200, and what is your real name?
Oh,
I like to know who I'm working with.
How dark is it? What is the secretary's name of her editor?
Myrna
Yep.
McGillicuddy.
Great, because here's the truth. Vivian's gonna give the money to the mobster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if this cultist keeps bothering a secretary. That's her.
So you give the secretary's name?
Oh, yeah. I want to, so I don't think she's that bad. I can't. I think Vivian gives her a real name. I want to personally, Claudia wants to. I don't think Vivian's that mean.
So you give your real name, and she says, in an hour and a half, come back, and I will give you the check for the schematics, and I will date this check for tomorrow so that I may check the schematics work. And then if you give me proof, perhaps a demonstration of this machine,
I'll get a picture.
I would like the machine.
You don't get the machine.
How will you
to give?
How will you prove to me that the machine works?
I will have 2 other witnesses. Both are not my personal friends.
Can you bring the machine to me to demonstrate at the temple, and then you may leave with it, of course?
I don't have any promises on that.
Come by for the money. I will post-date the check, but then I want to see the machine in action.
I gotta check it first.
All right. I will expect the schematics tonight.
The exchange is made.
Oh, yes, it is. And she's like so excited to get these schematics. But you will note when you give the exchange, she has checked up on you. She made sure that you are a real person.
No. Yeah, this is the point where I was like, Vivian is at this point putting her neck out for somebody else. And Vivian does not like it and does not like being reminded of it.
And then before you leave, she has these schematics. And before you leave, she goes, wait. Oh, wait. I'm getting a something from beyond the veil. Do you know anyone with a name that starts with maybe an L?
No. I just like, no.
Nope. Nope.
Vivian did not like this. Did not go in Vivian's favor. It didn't. But I mean, low key, she's got blackmail because she will post the worst article ever about this place. Everything doesn't work out, so she's not paying that $200. Like, that's not.
But you have a check that is dated for tomorrow.
Yes.
That you can cash tomorrow.
And I at this point I call, and it must be it's like 6 o'clock today right now. I think I call up Marty and I just tell him, and I don't need to tell him the entire plan, but I need some backup.
You need backup.
I got $200 for you. I got the money.
You got the money.
I got the money. However, to be able to cash it, we got to make sure this machine works that he was working on. It's located in Fuller. Want to check it after dark. We don't need to take the invention. We just need to see that it works.
All right.
And I might need your ability to get in the boss's office.
Okay.
So here's my favor. Meet me down at Fuller Enterprise or Engineering at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm going to get an in to get us into the building. We're going to make this thing work.
Okay.
Then you get your money and you don't have to bother George Preston or his lovely fiance.
All right. And this will give me my money.
I got a check already here.
All right.
From that Madam Isis that you so love.
She's a kook.
Yeah. That's one nice way.
All right. I'll be over at Fuller's at 10 o'clock. If you say we're going to do what? Get this machine?
We're just going to see if it works.
All right. And if it works, then I get my money.
Yep.
All right. I can do it.
Yeah.
I will see you tonight at 10 o'clock. You know, who says the press are irritating? They seem great to me.
Fix your problems.
And he hangs up.
I think after that, I know that voicemails haven't been invented yet.
No, but there are message services.
Oh, there are. I think she sends a message to Charlie, who's still at work, and just says, "I need your help. I think there's something wrong with Fuller." Oh no, I don't say that because this is a message going to Fuller.
So when you leave a message, you leave a message with an actual person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you would be. So I assume you're calling her apartment, right?
I need to get the message to her as quickly as possible in a way that nobody else reads.
So that would be calling the secretary at the office. You can either call the secretary at the office, who's your best friend, or you can call her apartment and leave a message with her landlady.
I'd rather leave a message with the landlady.
Okay. What is the message?
I will meet Charlie at 10 o'clock. I'll pick her up at work. This is important if we want to find our friend.
So you say, I need the message exactly. This is important.
Yeah. I will meet you at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pick you up at work.
Mm-hmm.
We'll meet at work instead of we'll meet at work.
Mm-hmm.
This is important to find your friend.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you say that there's something wrong with Fuller?
I don't.
Okay.
I changed my mind.
Okay. So you leave this message with the landlady, who's like, as soon as she gets in, I'll let her know.
Thank you.
And you figure she's probably going to be home probably by 7, so then we'll probably then be able to turn back around and get there by 10. It's 6-ish. What do you do now? You've got a couple hours.
Yeah. I mean, I think in a real world, I would use this time to you'd start developing photos, start working on the case.
You're probably in your dark room in your apartment.
Yeah, and I think if I had to state what I think is happening now, is I think the machine is gonna work. Or you know what, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think I want to investigate Fuller, because if he never left, he might be dead. And I think Vivian has seen some murders where a nice guy kills a nice guy.
What do you do with the other copy of those schematics?
It's all gonna be sent to the fiance. Because I wanted to buy her out of this, because I knew the mobster would find the fiance eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know why Vivian is so nice to this fiance, but I think as soon as the mob got in, it was like look, you just lost your husband. You don't deserve to also get shaken down by the mob. So she wants to make sure she's given so if it works and she gets the money, she'll just give the money directly to the fiance and be like, sorry, he's dead. Here's some money. Get out of town. New York's not for you, babe.
It's very giving. It's very warm.
Yeah. Or, if Vivian feels it, she'll just keep the money.
We will see how it goes. So, what are you going to do now? You're developing your photos. You've got great photos. You've got good photography skill.
Can I look at using my photography ability? Is there anything I can find from the photos that maybe I didn't notice in the real time? I took some pictures of Fuller Industries or Electrical. I took some pictures of the Madame Isis's house. I took some pictures just everywhere I've been. I'm hoping to find the apartment complex. I'm not expecting to see a ghost in the photos, but that would be easy if it was.
But you do actually see Marty. Marty was clearly lurking at the apartment complex. He was clearly trying to he's been scoping out places trying to find George this time. And you can see that. You actually catch Pearl. A picture of Pearl at the apartment building as well, because she was also trying to find George. So there are people lurking, being sketchy around this apartment building, not seeing each other.
I also have one more other thing I want to do.
Yes.
Do I get any other clues from the photos? Okay. Can I call the coroner to see if a body of Max Sims showed up?
You call the coroner, right? And there's Phil. Lance.
Hi, it's Vivian. How are you doing?
Sinclair.
Your favorite.
All right, what do you want?
Any weird bodies show up? When I say weird, I mean a lower half or a face you can't notice.
No. Why do you ask?
You know how we found that body of what's his name? Pyron.
Preston. Oh, Myron Fink. Yeah.
No, Myron.
Yeah.
I think something bad happened to somebody else, and hoping to find it. Did it? And I think she gives a description of the guy that she got. Big fellow, burly, handyman, Brooklyn area. Anybody's come up there?
No, but I've been getting a lot of calls.
From Brooklyn?
Yeah.
About what? Missing
people.
How many?
4.
It's more than usual.
All sorts of desperate wives asking them if we found their husbands.
Hey, did they all work in the electronics?
I don't know. No, but I didn't ask.
Can you give me the names?
There was a Max Sims.
Yeah.
There was a John Wright. Let me look. Hold on. There was a Max Sims. That's right. That was one of them. There was a John Wright. There was, what was his name? Stanley? Hold on. Where are my notes? Stanley Bose. And, what was his? Hold on. A lot of people were yelling at me. Hold on. Harry? Lee.
Hey, thanks.
Just a lot of missings from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It was weird because all the same area, but
No, yeah. Thanks. Sorry, I didn't expect this, and I think things are picking together again.
Yeah. Just those 4 out of Brooklyn. All like desperate like wives saying my husband didn't come home from work and whatnot. And is this body in the morgue? No.
And for none of them. All right. Linz, you are incredibly helpful.
Don't tell my bosses that. I might get fired.
Never change.
I won't. Hey, Sinclair.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Often reporters have answers, so let's listen up.
Saturday. Poker. You want to play?
What's the hand in?
Last time you won a lot.
I know, but let me see if I make it through tonight.
$2. $2 to come in.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah. Time?
We're gonna do 6.
Sounds good.
All right, at the club.
Oh, Hey, is your boy playing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
All right. Poker at the club, 6 o'clock.
You got it.
Will you do me a favor? Last time you brought a really good whiskey. Can you bring it again?
I think I can.
All right. I will see you for poker. For poker.
All right.
And he hangs up.
I just made $12 more. All right. I think she does some research in whether calling those widows. And her big question is, because here's the thing, there's a Yellow Pages. They're probably in there.
Oh, yeah. And you can get everybody's phone numbers. Because back in the day, they put your phone number and address in books on the street for everyone to find.
And I just want to know, are they all close to Fuller Industries, or do they work for Fuller Electronics?
You ask around, and what you find out is that all of them were out of work. All of them were electrical repair types, and they all had a lead on a good job. Some of the people didn't know where that lead was, but some of them said yes, it was Fuller, that they thought they could get a job there, and they went off, but then they never came back.
I think the last thing I do before I make my way to the appointment,
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave a message with Joseph O'Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he might be on the clock, he might be out of the office, so I'll leave it with whoever's there.
Mm-hmm. And what's the message?
I think it's the names. I think it's the names of all 5 of these people, including your suspect.
Yeah.
And saying they all went to Fuller and they didn't make it home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I don't want to put the side that it's a cult. Like, I don't want to say, but like, even if it's not a cult, Fuller might believe it's a cult.
Yeah.
So her current main thing is, oh, Fuller killing everyone, so he doesn't have to pay them.
Where are you at right now?
With what I think the mystery is?
No. Where are you at physically?
House.
At your house.
I'm just about to head to it because it's like probably 8:30.
Yeah. And anybody that you've called, did you give anybody a phone call to call you back?
I don't think I gave my number to anybody.
Okay.
But I also think there's a phone book.
Yeah. Okay, good. I just needed there are just some things I need to know. You head over to Fuller's, yes?
Yeah. Vivian is such a one-directional caller too.
She is. She's like,
here's my message. Don't care.
You don't need to call me back. I don't need to know about you.
This is.
Mm-hmm. You head over to Brooklyn. It's night. It's dark.
Brick
in the purse. And you head out, and as you start creeping up towards Fuller, you are waiting to see if maybe you can see Marty, right?
Yeah.
And what you see is there's the street light sort of illuminating the street, and in front of the shop there are 2 men guarding the shop, looking kind of tough, which might seem a little bit weird to you.
Yeah, it's super weird to me.
And they're just sort of hanging out in front of the shop, the front door. You do know that there is a back door.
I did learn that.
Probably for deliveries. But there are these 2 guys, and just sort of sitting out on the front, just sort of waiting.
But these are... can I do streetwise? Do they look like Marty's guys?
They do not look like Marty's guys. They also don't look like... they look like out-of-work guys who've been hired for a couple of bucks to keep watch on this building.
I don't think I can flirt my way to get them to leave. I don't think I...
And
how much pushes do I have?
You have 3, and I'm going to just tell you this. As you are sort of waiting there, figuring out what you want to do, behind you, you hear, "Hey."
Oh.
And there's Marty.
Oh my goodness. Hey Marty. Isn't it weird that Fuller Electronics has these 2 guys here?
Yeah.
Watching. This place doesn't need 2.
That's pretty weird. You said they're machine and money, right?
Yeah. I think she immediately just gives, like, I think she gives the check. Like, I don't think she wants that on her conscience.
Hmm. I can't cash this check. I'm not you.
You know what, Marty? Didn't even think about that. I guess I'll have to live till tomorrow.
All right. So, what do you want to do? What's the play?
I need to get in there. And what time is it?
It is probably like 9:30-ish, 9:45, getting towards 10.
I hate this. I don't want to spend money. Okay, I think Vivian goes. This is Vivian's next month's look budget. I don't think she can account payables this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she walks up, and I want to give you a push. And I can tell you that after the conversation that's had.
Mm-hmm.
But this
is bargaining, isn't it?
Them more to just leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because they're guys who are out of work.
They are. Yeah.
Gentlemen.
You walk up and they're like, sorry, miss. I'm afraid no one's allowed in the building. It's under construction.
Is this a one-day job or is this a multiple-day job?
So it might be multiple days if we're lucky.
I'm with the New York Times, and this is going to be a one-day job after my article gets out. I will pay you for a 2-day job to leave right now.
And all of a sudden you hear a and Marty is much closer to you than he was before. He just sort of strolls up right behind you. And they look to Marty, they look to you, and you're going to spend a push?
I'm going to spend a push.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, and they put out their hands.
Vivian has cash.
Yeah.
I assume a 1 day, I actually don't know how much a 1 day is.
You know, it's if you gave them,
I feel like it's like $20.
Yeah, if you give them if you give them $20, that's nice. They'll be if you could give them 10 apiece, and that would be good. Yeah,
I think that sounds fair.
Yeah.
I think that's enough that like Vivian is like no shoes today, like no shoes this month, like
because that's like $100 a piece, and
yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, they will skedaddle for $100 a piece, and they take that money and they're just like. And they just go.
Yeah. Thanks, Marty.
He's like, no problem. And at that moment, that is when the lights start to flicker.
Inside the building?
The entire block.
Can I look really quickly to the building? Because it should be dark. Because everyone should be home.
That's true. It should be.
Not. It's not dark, is it?
Well, it's not completely well lit. It seems like there's some light, maybe not a lot of light on the inside, but some light. But it also seems as if that light, just like the street lights, start flickering.
All right, this is the machine. Like, this is the machine.
They just go flicker.
I think Vivian's like, come on, this is our chance. And I think Vivian moves for it. Like, she moves. There's a door.
There is a door. There's a front door. There's a back door.
Back door. We're gonna... I don't know how easy it is to break in a back door. Because it's more like a entrance with like a rolly entrance, right?
You haven't seen it.
I'm gonna try back door.
How quickly do you move?
I mean, I'm gonna try to move quick. Oh, to see, I'm gonna need to move fast. Okay. I do everything. Story. I'll go front door. I'm gonna go front door. It's like, I gotta see it work.
Okay. I mean, front door, back door. Back door will probably give you cover. Because it won't. Because the back door is probably going to put you in that storage space. The front door is going to put you right in the middle of it.
Yeah, back door then. Like, yeah. I hate it, the back door.
So you all hustle around the back. And there's like a big set of double doors.
Mm-hmm.
And Marty's like, comes over. He just like has a kind of like a lock pick. And he just pops the lock out. Opens the door. And you come into a completely dark storage unit as these lights are flickering. And it's like rows and rows of, you know those metal kind of shelving?
Yeah.
Right? So like you can see through them, like, you know, they're just kind of like metal shelves.
Yeah, is it like the big Costco style big size ones?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're there and it's full of like machines that people haven't picked up yet, typewriters and tools. And it's completely dark. Except that you can see there's the door that would go into the main area. And it is shut, but there is that sort of slim sliver of light that's coming in from the main room into this storage space where you're at.
Vivian's gonna move towards it, like a little bit careful, but more excited about what could be in it. Because if the machine works, she's gotta know. $200 are on the line.
As you move closer to this door, you can hear it. There's a sound. It's like a hum, but not an electric hum. It's something. If sounds could be wet, it sounds wet. It sounds strange. And as you creep up to this door, you can peek through, and you see the open warehouse. Completely dark. All the lights are off except for one. One lone spotlight from above that is illuminating this warehouse. But not the full warehouse. And you're underneath what would be the office. Just a portion of it. And in the middle of this illuminated space is a chair. And tied to the chair is Charlie. She's got a gag in her mouth, and she's tied to this chair, and her eyes are wide with fear, and tears are streaming down her face.
And this is next to the machine.
And off to the side, right just on the edge of the light, plugged into one of these workbenches, is this machine. And it looks sort of like, the machine's not giving out the light, but it sort of looks like there's like a small, it's like in a suitcase, it's like this suitcase is open, and on this suitcase there's this machine that's got like a bell for like a record player, like one of those like horns, but also it's whirring. It's got like it's sort of like a mix between like a movie projector and an old-timey record player, and it's like whirring fast, and as it's plugged in, and as it's moving, the lights are flickering and on and off. But you also see these strange, odd shapes that sort of pulse and pulsate. They look almost bioluminescent and see-through, and they're floating through the space, moving towards the light. They don't seem to be doing anything negative, but they're blobby and strange, and they just seem to be floating towards this harsh spotlight that's focused on her. And they're alien. You've never seen anything like it, and they're disturbing.
No. Do they look like what that guy was talking about?
No. Well, they look like the blimpy things, but they don't look like the other ones.
Like blimpy, like floaty.
Blimpy, floaty, strange. And that's when you see it. That's when you see the other one. It seems to come from far away, but it's also right there. And this thing is large. It is maybe the size of like a large shepherd, but it doesn't look like a dog. It looks like it's got these angles to it that you don't understand, like, because like things should have a shape, right? But it doesn't. It has these weird angles, and it has these large teeth, and it's sort of dripping something that sort of sizzles. And outside of the teeth, it's got these large tentacles that are sort of swooping, undulating, and this thing is floating slowly. And it seems it doesn't have eyes, but it seems to notice. It's drawn towards the light, and it notices Charlie.
I think at this point, if I can see all of this...
You can see all of this.
I am going to take some photos.
I'm going to ask you this question. Are you going to watch what happens?
I think... I'm going to take the photos, and I think Vivian will watch what happens.
You start taking photos, and Marty's behind you. He's like, what do you see? What do you see?
Marty, you're not going to want to see this.
And I need you to make a stability test. And it's an advance of 9.
Okay, so... Oh, I just closed the window. Okay. 9, you're saying.
9. As there is an extra problem available for you, but you can think about it.
I have 2 dice.
You do.
So I'm at least going to roll 2.
As you are taking photographs, you see this strange thing move closer and closer to Charlie. And you're taking the photographs. It's amazing. You've never seen anything like this. And as it gets closer, it opens its mouth. And she's muffling a scream as tears run down her face as the tentacles wrap around her body. And then these pincers just start snipping off pieces of her flesh and just moving the small pieces of her flesh into its gaping maw. And she's screaming in this muffled way as blood is spattering and the tentacles hold tight, stinging her, and just pieces of shoulder, pieces of face just ripped off piece by piece and placed inside of this maw, eating organs, flesh. I need that stability roll, my friend.
I was like, when do you want that roll?
I want it right now. That's a 3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The second one?
That's a 6.
I need to get a 9?
A 9 to advance.
I am going to take wait, a push can't give a dice.
No, but there is an extra problem you can take.
I'm gonna take that problem.
Okay.
I think I know what the problem's gonna be. I'm gonna take that problem.
You're gonna take the problem. You get one more die. It's off the screen so people can't see it. But
It is a 2.
it is a 2. That brings you to an 8.
That's not enough.
That's not enough for an advance. You get jaded again.
Yeah, that would make sense for this.
You vomit.
Wait, not on the camera, right?
No, you just start vomiting. You lose your lunch. It just all comes up as you watch this thing completely devour Charlie. Just leaving parts of a skeleton with just ragged ends of muscle and tissue hanging off of it. And her clothes, which were just snipped off, are just sitting perfectly and pleasantly right next to this body on the floor at its feet. And then the thing starts looking around for something else to eat. And all that's left is like maybe a femur with some flesh, nothing else. And it starts to turn. And then the electricity goes off. And once all the way off. And once the electricity goes off, the light's off and it vanishes.
As soon as the light's off and it vanishes, Vivian taps Marty. We gotta go. It worked. We gotta go.
What worked?
We gotta go, Marty. I'm calling the cops and as soon as I get out there, and you don't want to be here for that.
Well, if there's a machine, we gotta get it.
No. This one? No.
He opens the door.
Marty!
And he goes in there and he sees the machine. And he like sneaks forward. And then he sees this femur and flesh. And he's like, what the hell is that?
Marty, just grab it and run. Grab it and run now. There's somebody else here.
And he looks around. And he's like sneaks over to the machine. And he starts like packing it up.
Yeah.
I need you, because you are still...
I'm still hidden.
You're hidden and you're not feeling very good, right?
No.
You're feeling super, super nauseous.
Yeah.
Sense trouble.
Like, I know what's going to happen.
Sense trouble. Also, -1 die.
Oh, wow.
Because
well,
you're feeling...
didn't go well for me.
You're feeling, oh, hey, there's no extra problem.
Good.
You incoming raid. What? What? Kulan, who's our raid? What? Well, I don't think it's here yet, but when it's here, we'll find out.
No, that's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah. Because you were vomiting, you were making noises.
No, this is horrible. I'm throwing up. I can't hear. I'm dizzy. I've got the footage.
Mochi's mom, thank you for the raid very much. Welcome in. We are in our climax at this moment. We have got our investigator, Vivian Sinclair, who watched an innocent person be devoured by a monster.
They had to know. The truth had to get out.
That she took photographs of. Marty is like, I need the machine.
Which, no, we didn't.
He's thinking he wants the money. He has the money or the machine. You're vomiting. And I need you rolled a 2?
A 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna let that ride.
Okay.
I don't want another problem because already Marty's a problem I didn't realize. Like, Marty got me in, but Marty's a problem I didn't realize.
You hear a gunshot. And you see Marty get hit. The gunshot comes from behind you. And the next thing you know, no. And the next thing you know, you smell something sweet. And then everything goes black.
Me? I'm I shouldn't be in any danger. I'm hiding.
It was the smell of chloroform.
Oh, I know. I
Oh,
don't
yes.
like it.
And the next thing you know, you feel nauseated and you have this splitting headache. And you come to. And you come to, and you are tied to a chair.
Yeah, I thought so.
And there's a harsh spotlight on you. And there's the machine right next to you. Not within hand's reach.
No.
And next to you, in another chair, is Marty.
Is his spotlight on too?
Yep, you're both in this spotlight. And he's tied up, you're tied up, he's bleeding. And you can see up in the office above, overlooking you, is Fuller. His lights are off, so there's no light on him. But you can see just the thin light of a cigarette. And you can't really see him very well. And the glare is harsh. And Marty's out, but you're awake. And you can hear a chuckle. And he goes, it's Fuller.
Yeah.
He says, I don't know why you had to get into my business, but you won't be in my business for much longer.
I think at this point, Vivian is like not feeling good, but she left a trail. She knows that she called the detective and gave him these names. And Fuller Electronics?
You did not.
Sorry, shoot.
No. You might have. You don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think I'm gonna try to make a bargain.
Remember also, you also have the skill preparedness, I think it is?
Yeah. I mean, the issue is my preparedness was leaving that note for the detective.
But that also allows you to have things on your person.
Oh, so I'm roped, right?
You are roped. Hands behind your back, in the chair. The machine is on. How
thick are these ropes? Like cuttable?
Cuttable.
I would like to roll preparedness to see if I have a knife.
So you think that you might have a knife
somewhere on my person.
Somewhere on your person.
Small.
Like... I need for you a preparedness test of a 4.
Let's roll it. I'm very afraid, but my luck has been bad.
You can take an extra problem if you would like.
I'm not going to take a problem.
Okay.
Instead, I'm going to take a push.
Okay. So.
But I want to. It's going to be a bargain push.
He's talking to you.
Yes. He's
talking, and he's like, "All right, girlie, you can't get in my way. We're on the edge of something important. I'm afraid you're going to have to meet my pet now."
And I think at this point I make the bargain of I give him the 5 names, and I give him. I've let the detective. I've let the PD know and they know, and this is where it comes in, they know to check in on me by, and if I'm dead, you will die too. You will be hung. I assume hanging is still a thing here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And your future will end. If you pack up your stuff and leave, you can get out of here before they find you.
He's going to assess honesty on you to see whether or not you actually did do some preparedness to try to go and do this.
I did a little bit.
You did. He looks at you.
I'll destroy my push regardless.
Use that push. Push. And he gives you those. You give him those names, and he checks his watch, and I didn't do anything wrong here, he says. I didn't do anything wrong.
But society will kill you for it.
I'll be given a medal. I'll be rewarded.
Not if you're done. Not if you're taken. Uh-oh. Your work won't be finished if you get cut short. Your pet needs to grow. You can't do that in Brooklyn. You've been too sloppy.
There is more to learn. I need to keep testing this to figure out how it works. And he's assessing. And he thinks you're not lying about having given up those names. And he thinks you're not lying about having told the police. He pulls the switch from the office to cut the electricity. He comes down. He packs up the machine. And he says, "You have to know. I'm going to sell this to the government. We're going to win the war. And I'm going to make so much money." But you're right. I've not finished training the pet. And I don't yet know how this machine, I can't reproduce it. But I'm going to figure out how to make more of these. And I'm going to sell it to the government. And we're going to win this war. And he looks at his watch again. Don't tell on me. And he leaves. With the machine. And there's just a little bit of blood. Just a little bit of blood. And you can smell it. And you're sitting there just for a few moments. And then you hear a car drive up outside. And there's like a pounding at the door. And you hear O'Connor.
Oh my goodness.
Say, "Police, open up. Open up."
And O'Connor, it's me, Vivian. You have to get in here.
And the door's kicked in, and there's O'Connor and like two uniformed police officers, and they rush in. And O'Connor's like, "Vivian," and he rushes over to you, and he undoes the ropes. And he's like, "Marty the Mouth? What is he doing here?" He's unconscious, by the way.
Yeah, no, he's, yeah. I'm
and
surprised he's
bleeding.
not dead. Well, I think he's dead. He got shot, right?
He got shot, but you don't know if he's dead or not.
I think Vivian just like very messy fall. Yeah. It's on the film. He murdered 6 people.
Who?
Fuller. He just left. Put out a report.
And then he's like, he tells one of the guys, and the uniformed police officers rushes back to the car to make this report.
Yeah.
And he sort of gets you out of the chair. He's like, what happened?
I think it's on the film. We have to, and I think she starts looking for her camera.
Yeah.
Is her camera there?
Her camera is there. Because Fuller didn't have time to like, he just
tied me to a chair. You're like, oh my goodness. I think she's holding the camera and she's like, this is everything. People died so that we can know the truth.
He says, I'm going to have to take that camera as evidence.
I think she like pauses and she's like, this has to be developed right. Do you trust your guys?
I do.
I think she does give it away. I think she does. And then she looks like, if it's on there, don't let them destroy it.
I won't. I'm going to take off my Fuller suspenders because Fuller's not in the room.
Fuller's off.
Fuller's off.
Marty saved me. There's a lot to talk about.
And an ambulance is called. Police come. They start scouring that place. They find 2 sheets of schematics that belong to George up in the office. And they take that as evidence. You're sort of taken away. O'Connor, make sure that you're safe.
I think she's gonna stay at O'Connor's for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I think this is one of those like not gonna stay at home.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of things happen, and then I want you to tell me what happens on your side.
Yeah.
First off is they don't catch Fuller. They have an APB out for him. They're looking for him. They can't find him. The next thing is the film is developed. All of it. And that is disturbing.
It actually shows it though.
It does. That's what you hear. And then you hear one day, I imagine you're sort of working on your story.
I assume I am checking in and want copies of the photos because they are mine.
O'Connor comes home. You have nightmares. O'Connor comes home. He looks terrible. And he says, I'm sorry, Vivian. The police, the FBI showed up. They took everything.
No. I think this is like her kind of like getting up from the couch because she hasn't been sleeping on bed. Like, you told me we would keep it. Charlie died for those photos. The world has to know my job is going to fire me because I wrote about a giant pit bull with tentacles, and you're telling me that the photos are gone.
I didn't give them your name, though. They wanted to know who took the photographs, and I didn't give them your name.
Thanks.
I told them I just found the camera.
Thanks. No, that was good. Yeah. Never give up your sources.
I am on leave for a bit.
Me too. They loved the stories about the murder. They had to take out the portions about the snippings, and I had to redact 2 pages because wasn't front page safe. So I missed that 15-year-old birthday party. So where do you want to go?
Tell me about your story. What'd you write?
There's a machine now. There's a machine that kills people. And not like bullets, and not like tanks, but that opens a monster and calls it. And that monster, the machine's the size of a briefcase. That monster, big as a house, can be anywhere. And now it's out. And Fuller's gonna keep raising it, and the government's gonna use it.
Your editor wouldn't let you put that in the article, would he?
No. So I just have a lovely article about how an electrician hired people and then murdered them, and to be careful about where you look for jobs. That worked out great. They love that. They love the part about the weird apartment complex with a lovely man and a lovely house and a missing body. And I mean, your cops loved the part where he's dead, because then you can pin the crime on him. No, wait, I'm sorry. Did you submit that Fuller did the first murder?
Yeah, you told me to, and I did.
Thanks.
So his name is cleared.
And his fiance's clear of debt. The medium, I mean, she's not going to give me the other $200, but I don't have to pay any more to her, so.
Hey, Marty, we talked to him in the hospital.
Yeah.
He told me to say thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I'm glad he lived.
You shouldn't hang out with guys like that.
Oh, no, I didn't want you to pull you into this. Not this one.
I understand. I don't know how to tell you this. They went through your apartment.
The FBI or the cops?
The FBI. I couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
I couldn't even be there. But I don't think anything happened besides your roommate got freaked out.
Yeah, well, Catherine loves to be dramatic.
That's true.
I think her audition went okay.
Apparently she has a really good scream.
Hey, my parents live out in Florida. You want to take a week there?
Yeah, they've got a good steakhouse?
Yeah, I mean, they don't own it, but they recommend one.
Okay. I mean, I'm on vacation.
Me too. I mean, that's what they call firing. If that's what they call firing, then yeah, I'm on vacation.
Your story was good. And Vivian, there are a lot of families who now know what happened to their husbands and sons.
And daughters.
And daughters. You're going to write for the New York Times again, I know it. You've got more stories left in you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good to get a new apartment.
Let's go to Florida.
Yeah. Let's go to Florida.
And with that, O'Connor and Vivian take a week's break. Well, they're on break to Florida. They're on break. I'm going to ask you, so the story about the grisly serial killer, 6 murders, 1 a day, starting on a Wednesday, it sells well. You actually get a front page from that. And
after it's been edited many times.
Your editor is like, this story is not going in, but
let me just take pieces.
It's impressive. You come off like a hero because you caught the serial killer. Intrepid reporter caught the serial killer. And everyone's very impressed with you, with a story that you only half wrote. Well, you wrote it, but
can I change something that I said was true last time?
Yeah.
I think Vivian goes to Madame Isis the next day and says it doesn't work and pays her $200 for the schematics.
And Madame Isis will say, I noticed there were some pieces missing. I canceled my check. It is a shame that it didn't work at all.
It is a shame, but I think it's better for everybody if you are the one who communes with spirits.
Indeed. And she hands you back these schematics.
I think at that point, I think she shreds them.
Mm-hmm.
I think she takes $200 out of her own pocket and gives it to Marty. Like, I think she just wants that never to be talked about again. Like,
Marty's got like this, like, he's got like a bullet hole right here. She's all wrapped up. But he thanks you for the money. He says he will not forget it. And that he goes, I won't forget you paying off this debt. But also, I won't forget that I've got a debt. A debt to you, Miss Sinclair. You ever need anything from old Marty, just call me.
Well, I've heard you're very good at opening doors. So. Sorry.
Don't make me laugh. And you got a good right hook.
Carry a brick. You don't need a right hook if you got a brick.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Do you have a daughter?
No, I don't.
Well, if you have any nieces, tell them about the brick.
Oh, I will. Hey, what happened in there?
Someone died. Someone talented and great and forward thinking. And I think actually Vivian writes the obituary for Charlie. And like, of course, reaches out to the family, but helps write it. And uses that front page picture. Yeah. Like, it was a great photo.
And there's a beautiful picture of Charlie because you end up getting back some of your photos, right? You get the ones that are not
Cthulhu related. You get the ones that are not Cthulhu related. Those are the ones you get. So you have a nice photograph of Charlie for the obituary. And you have some things that will look good for a murder story that doesn't have all the details that you know are out there. Yeah.
You know those details are out there. And your editor gives you a good job. People who don't know about all the edits, Larry, you know, he's like, oh, that was really amazing, so impressive, and everybody is so proud of you, and they're so excited.
You know what? I don't think Vivian got laid off.
Nope.
I think she left for a week.
Yeah.
I think she took a vacation.
Yeah, you didn't get laid off. You took a vacation. And they don't put you on the 4th floor, but they move your desk closer. Closer, you know.
Yeah, no, I see the window sometimes.
You see the window sometimes. And O'Connor's in a little bit of trouble because he fought really hard to not have the things happen that happened.
Yeah, but you know what? Florida's nice.
Florida's nice. And you're going to keep all 3 of your edge. You get to keep your edge and your 2 problems for now.
I think so. I think she stays jaded.
Yeah.
I think she can, like, I think dates are harder.
Yeah.
I think she stays pretty steady with O'Connor.
Yeah. But it's a little awkward, right?
Their laughter doesn't ring as well. I think when Vivian's on a story, she seems like her old self, but then I think O'Connor knows somewhere that she needs a body there.
Yeah.
And he was a really good choice of a body.
Yeah. And every once in a while, you hear that sound just echoing. And whenever the lights flicker, you notice, even if it's like just a little bit. And you know that Fuller is out there. And that is where we will end our story for today. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Bad choices! Bad choices! Vivian makes bad choices!
You didn't die.
No, I didn't. I think that was something that I was like, Vivian's not gonna let herself die.
No. She's not. I'm gonna just say a thing for the audience and also for you, Jackie Dash, who's amazing. At this point in time in the game, you have a choice. There is an XP sort of a situation here. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and then you can just make up your own mind now or later. You don't have to decide now. But I want the audience to know what happens with leveling up. Okay. After each adventure, the player has a choice of adding any investigative skill they want.
Oh.
Or taking a tick mark on one of your physical skills, one of your general skills.
Oh, so you can make it like a little, like one stronger?
So after 3 tick marks, you get an extra die in any one of those physical skills you want. So you can up your filch from 1 to 2, or you can up your athletics to 2 to 3. That's after 3 adventures. Or you can get a different investigative skill. So there is a means to sort of level up in the game as well. And because she has, now normally you could get rid of all of your problem cards that are not continuity cards, but you have all continuity problem and edges, so you get to keep them.
They just hang out?
So they get to hang out for next time as well.
I think she would become I think she doesn't want to, but I think she's drawn to the searching for what happened. She needs that story. So I don't know if that's Cthulhu mythos
it is.
Or the occult, but whenever she hears that weird drone, I think the next day she does a little more research on it.
I feel like that is a good justification for you to get Cthulhu mythos as a skill. Because you've been spending a little bit too much time searching. Actually, you can choose either occult or Cthulhu mythos.
I think Cthulhu mythos is more of the direction, because I think she does not believe in the occult still.
Yeah.
But I think she 100% believes in Cthulhu mythos.
Yes. Vivian Sinclair now has Cthulhu mythos on her sheet and a little bit of an obsession to go along with those red lines, strings in her desk. And I don't know how great she feels about getting praised for a story that was not the story she wanted to write.
I think she was tired of it. She took a vacation. But I also think that she did good journalist work.
She did.
I think she's still proud of the fact that she got those 5 names together.
Yeah.
She found Fuller, because if she didn't, people would still be dying.
That's right. And every once in a while, maybe you pay attention to missing persons just to see if there's anything there. But for the moment, your home is safe as it can be in a world where you now know that there are other dimensions with creatures that no one can understand. That was Fatal Frequencies. Oh, could we have you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, where we can find you, and how you felt about, finishing up your first one-to-one Cthulhu gumshoe game?
I'm sorry, I'm pulling up chat.
Please do. Yay, chat.
Okay. Because I was like, this one, I was like, I need to make sure I'm focused.
Yes.
Sometimes silly, which I love, but I was really worried about this one. So my name is Jackie Dash, JAKIDASH, and I stream on Mondays. I do long form games. We just, when I say just, there's an asterisk of like a month ago, finished a long form game, which was so fun. And we're going to dive into one soon. I have some thoughts. I want to pause in the JRPG realm and I want to go play the last Tomb Raider.
Nice.
So find me on Mondays. And
what time?
I get asked now. Usually around 7 p.m. Pacific. I'm moving, which is really exciting. So the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have a weird schedule because I have to pack and live in a place with no internet for about like a couple of weeks.
Oh no!
I know. Luckily, my phone has some internet, but like streaming takes a lot of internet. So it's exciting. We're going to have a balcony.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I know a little bit about anime and a little more about Cthulhu now.
How are you feeling?
Good. I think it was really, when I started doing RPGs, I always made decisions where like, I want a good character and I care about everybody. So I'm only going to make good choices. So when I put good, I mean like good for people around the main character. So I think it was really cool that with Vivian, I was like, she's not going to make good choices for everybody because the story is what's important. And I think she cares about people.
Yep.
But I think she so that was a really freeing moment.
Yeah.
That was scary. That was exciting. Where I was like, I'm going to let this character die.
Yeah.
Especially one that was so cool.
But you got the photographs. The government did come in though. They were like, "What?"
And that makes me afraid that he's going to actually sell it to the government because now they have evidence. But they also have evidence to show why this probably is a thing we shouldn't do.
Let's hope. But that is a thing we might be able to find out in another adventure.
Exactly. So this is your second Cthulhu Confidential game.
Yes.
So you had one character who saved the world and died.
Yes. And
you have the other that let the world burn but lived.
Yes.
So you're doing pretty good.
I feel, but Vivian did also pay off the debt so that the fiance is not going to be muscled by Marty.
Yeah.
And that was very nice. And, put together a story to make sure that a bunch of people know what happened to their loved ones. So, Vivian's not completely bad.
No, and this is gonna be really weird. I'm watching a lot of the series Unfortunate Events, and they used a really great line of like, there's no such thing as noble people. There's people who do good and people who do bad, and I think this is exactly who Vivian is.
Yeah,
like good and bad.
And I think that she really wanted the story out, right? I think this is like really important to her, and I can see her now becoming a much more driven investigator to find out what is really going on, because clearly there are dangers out there that are much bigger than people would have known.
And that kind of ties into, we had to choose in the beginning what Vivian's I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up, Zoom. What her problem was, and it's everything for a story.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly who she is.
I love it. I think it's so amazing. I love this. It makes me so happy. I just want you to know that I have, I love the choices you've made, and I cannot wait to find out what happens next with Vivian.
Right. And I was almost going to suggest, well, everyone who survives in your eventual 3-part miniseries could come back, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, they can, because there are more adventures. I'm just saying that there are possibilities in the future.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. It's such a joy to be invited.
Oh, and it was so wonderful. And I just, all the love. So I want to say I'm Trooper SJP. And I was GMing, and it was so wonderful and exciting to continue to sort of run Cthulhu Confidential. It's such an intense experience to do one player, one GM. It's really like it's a wonderfully intense experience where it's like a lot of focus, and I love to find out, because what is so great about it is that I just get to find out what my player's going to do. Just like it's this really great sort of moment of it's a very different kind of RPing, and I recommend anyone try it.
It was good experience for me, who's never had this kind of experience one-on-one.
Yeah, I really like it. And there is another investigator, Langston Wright, and I'm hoping probably not in August, but maybe in September, because Gen Con.
Yeah. Oh, Gen Con, yes.
Yeah, Gen Con. So that hopefully we can maybe do something, get another investigator out, and then maybe cycle through some more excitement. I will say, for those who want to, you can follow me if you like. There's a button. You can subscribe if you want to. I also have a Patreon, and that Patreon is there to help me go and just do more RPGs. So that's not even, there we go. So if you want to support me on Patreon, please do. And all of that goes to, helping with RPG stuff, props, and cast. And we also have the YouTube, where we have the archive of all of my stuff. And there's a Discord if you want to hang out with us, because it's really great. Also, Claudia has a wonderful Discord as well.
I do. I have an anime section, which is very important to my needs.
Oh, do you like Akira?
I have strong opinions on Akira. I don't know if you want to get into them, but I have strong opinions on Akira.
I want to know about them, but clearly not now, because you have to go to a birthday party, and I've got to play Call of Cthulhu as a player.
Yeah, so you've got to be the part where you see the monsters.
I've got to see the monsters, and so we're going to find out what happens, but I want to know all about it. So you hang out my Discord if you like. Find me on Twitter. I'm Academic Foxhole, and I am excited for all of the things. And thank you for being a wonderful player. Thank you, everybody who's been here as an audience member. You are so much appreciated. We are so happy to be able to do this show for you. And fret not, there will be more Cthulhu Confidential in the future.
No fretting.
No fretting. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.